sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want you to know. Secrets start in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one who speaks. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know.
Okay, hey you guys, welcome to the live. Hey, and Charmaine's here, and then Adam will be here when he gets on, and Ivy Rose should be joining us as well. She was just on Ruckus over there apparently, so which I knew she had told me. And we were supposed to do this live yesterday, and then I still don't feel well, but I feel better. My husband brushed my hair for me. Had a shower and he brushed it because it was so naughty. But anyway, so thank you, husband. But yeah, so want to apologize for yesterday because I wasn't expecting to fall asleep, and then I woke up, I wasn't feeling well. And but so we'll talk a little bit, just a little bit about the documents. Defense Diaries is on in about an hour from now. There's other channels that are on. I think everyone and their dog is on at some point today here, because of the documents coming out, and we were on earlier, and then these came out after we got off the live, pretty much, and stuff like that. And so yeah, so we'll talk.
I'm waiting to hear from the judge. So,
Pardon?
I think everybody's been waiting to hear from the judge. So this is kind of big news.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, I got a lot of notifications, Daisy. Yeah, absolutely. So, Charmaine, do you just actually, in a sense, just want to say a quick, not just of this one, but just a quick rundown of what kind of dropped today? And then obviously the relator had brought out their motion, their document, and then of course was the response that came after. Do you just want to do a quick rundown?
So, I mean, from what I understand, this response here is strictly for that first writ of Mandamus. And then another thing that came out today, I believe, was the broadcaster's amicus brief. I haven't had a chance to read that or hear much about that because this came out really shortly after, so everybody's attention was on this one here. But like I said, this is in response to the first writ of Mandamus about the docket and unsealing certain documents. So, and I mean, I think everybody knows I'm not a lawyer, so I read the words the same as everybody else does, but. In general, when was it yesterday or the day before that she put those items back on the docket? It was very recently.
The ones that came out today, the two? Like,
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the letter. But then the other filings went back on the docket as well. But that kind of put this first writ of Mandamus, they actually even say in here that it makes it kind of a moot point because everything is now back on the docket that needs to be, or most that needs to be. The most interesting part to me and a lot of other people, I think, was the part where it kind of explains why the Franks memorandum, or the memorandum in support of the Frank's hearing motion, was sealed or was pulled off was because it should have been. It was because Abby and Libby's names weren't redacted. They were their full names of minors were used in that document. So I know that we all thought it was because they named all of those additional suspects, or they were pointing the finger at these other people and they named them and they had the crime scene information. But according to this, it was because Abby and Libby's names were not redacted in it. So that was kind of interesting to me. Another part of it was that the filings that were made back in June, the defense didn't raise an issue with those rulings back in June. So basically, why are we worried about it now? So that part says relator failed to file his petition expeditiously. And I believe that's what that's talking about, because the only other one was the disqualification of the lawyers, and that was relatively recently. So is this Ivy that's here now too?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's I'm super glad, because I know that in the chat you were kind of, I think, understanding a little bit more than I was. So
Was I? I don't know about that, but
you were not, but
Ivy.
two half brains are better than like my little tiny.
I'm drinking some caffeine, so give my brain 10 or 15 minutes to start understanding.
Well, I was going to say, like, Travis was just messaging me now. He won't be coming on. He's had a long day, he said. But he said, I think he was going to be in chat. He said, but we'll be watching and chatting. And I think he's typing right now still on there if somebody does have any questions. But yeah, Ivy, is there anything that you wanted to say with regards to anything that came out today at all? Or is your
Not
brain
really.
melting?
I mean, not like right now. I'm sure I'll have comments as we go. Are we reading through this? Is that what we're doing?
No, not
No.
really. But you know why? Defense Diaries is on in an hour. They're going to go through it all. There's channels that are already going through it. I can't, meaning that's why I just kind of wanted Charmaine there to kind of sum it up. And, if people have questions, like I said, and what is this?
Well, in that case, I did find it weird that, not weird, just kind of like annoying in a way, I guess, that in there somewhere Goal was like, it's not my responsibility for the whatever you call it, the CCS. But she's the one that told him to do it.
Yeah. Well, from what I can read, and this to me is playing word games, but she's basically saying that she did nothing wrong, and that in telling the clerk of the court to strike those things from the record, she's not outright denying that she told her to remove them altogether, but she's also saying that that's not her responsibility to kind of manage that part of it. To me, it looks like she's passing the buck.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't think the clerk of the court is going to, she knows what her job is. So they're not going to remove items from the docket.
It's interesting. And they didn't get around to doing it. I can't remember if it was last time Sunny had a show. I can't remember when it was. It was recently, though. I had sent in an article about, I think it was from the beginning of this year, either this year or 2022. And it was Carroll County, and it was a clerk with, I think it was Judge Hopkins. I think his name's Troy. I hope it was him. And it was about bail. And if I remember correctly, he told the clerk to return the bail money to, I think the bail had been paid by somebody else, to return the bail money to the inmate who got out. And she's like, no, that law changed like 6 months ago. That's not how you do it now. And he's like, do it. And he kept telling her to do it. She's like, no, I'm not doing it. That's illegal. So then they got into it, and there was somehow legal fees. So then she, I don't know if she sued or if she just requested that Carroll County pay her legal fees. And I'm not really sure how it all ended up, but it's interesting that was another example of like the clerk and the judge not quite being on the same page, and the judge telling the clerk to do something that wasn't correct. But that clerk was like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Are you probably already showed those letters earlier today, hey, Sunny?
I did. Do you want?
You Canadians in your hay.
Sorry. I don't know. What you guys do? I don't even know. I don't like making fun of Americans, Ivy.
Oh,
So
make fun of us. Language.
So, and I mean, the other thing about this, like there was something that stuck out to me about those letters that, I mean, I'll just say, I don't care if you have them up or not, but other than that, with this document, I've heard mostly in Bob's chat, because he took quite a bit of time today in his chat room to kind of go over and give his opinion on some of this stuff. And a lot of people in there think that it's not that it's well written, but because everything was put back on the docket and makes this moot, that they're probably going to rule in Gull's favor with this one.
That's what I was wondering if they just dismiss it. But she doesn't want that ruling against her.
No, for sure. But if they're right, which, let's face it, none of them are Indiana lawyers.
He'll be on Daisy.
They they do have some more knowledge than we do, obviously, and they think that they'll probably end up ruling in Gull's favor on this one, but it doesn't affect the next writ of mandamus or anything else that's been filed in the Supreme Court.
Well, when I listened to Kara on the defense diaries, what I kind of took away from her is that mandamuses are pretty rare, and the Supreme Court really doesn't like to grant them. So even if Gull is in the wrong, even with the other one, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll rule against her either, which is kind of frustrating.
Wait 1 second. Sorry, Ivy. Charmaine, did you can you get me that document quickly?
I'm trying.
Which document are you looking for?
Ivy, the media one, the one that came out. I didn't grab that one.
Yeah.
I only actually heard it when Travis is asking for it, so just figured
that's
when he
first thing this morning, right?
Wait, the one from this morning?
Yeah, at 6:21 a.m.
Oh,
it's called the brief of Anna Curie, writ of
I
mandamus.
have that one. I sent that one to him actually. So
Do you want me to send it or no?
Well, I'm pretty sure, because I had that one this morning. Brief of that's called brief of blah blah blah, and so I sent that one to him, but give me a second, I'll just send it to him, even though I sent it. Travis, if you're watching, it should be in your emails, but I'll resend it again. So you guys go on for a second, and I'll just quickly send it.
So about those letters this afternoon, you know what I found really weird? That
I didn't get a chance to finish which one are you talking about? The one, there's only one that came out today, wasn't there?
What's his name, Baston or whatever, the one he wrote and then he filed, and basically explaining why he didn't show up to court that day. All that information about what he's claiming happened to him is disturbing enough, but in my mind, if you're subpoenaed to go to court, and if you're an inmate, they're going to force you to go. You can't just say, I'm not going to go. So that bothers me a lot, actually, because why wouldn't they force him to go?
I would imagine because he is. Well, did you read the part about where they explained, I think it was the guard who came to get him, maybe not a guard, but whoever went to transport him, said that he told him that they were going to have to use, I forget what the word was, like cell extraction, something or other.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, I'm not going. So then that dude stepped away and went and talked to, I think he talked to,
Oh, didn't
oh
he?
man, I'm blanking on the warden.
Oh, Gallipo or whatever.
Yeah, Gallipo. And then another lady who is over the prison somehow. And then talked to Judge Gull. And then Judge Gull was like, no, that's fine. And I think because he was probably going to be
Witness or whatever.
I think there's like several different reasons. He was only going to be testifying about this very small thing, and from their point of view, and kind of mine too, in a way, it was likely bullshit anyway because he's known for all the letters. And B, because he is so, what's that word, litigious. If they were to like use force to get him out, he's probably going to sue them again, and they don't want to have to deal with all his bullshit, for lack of a better word. Sorry, Sonny. I don't have a very good filter.
Well, that's what I'm. Okay, that's $5 right there. I got it. $5, potty mouth. No, just kidding.
Oh my gosh, I'd be broke if I had that at my house.
That's fine.
So that's my opinion.
Well, I was gonna say, guess who's here?
Those are all really good points, and it just, I mean, it didn't bother me like personally or anything. It just kind of made my eyebrow go up. Like, really?
Oh my gosh, Joan. No, I am not.
That made me laugh when I saw that. No, psychic sleuth is somebody totally different.
Right.
That's Rochelle. Hi, Adam.
Hey,
Hi,
How
Adam.
are you?
good. How are you,
Oh,
ladies?
Look at their sexy boy. So,
Hi.
hey, Lacey.
Ooh, are you in a different place?
You shaved.
No.
I shaved the other night.
shaved?
I was shaved on Monday.
Well, Adam, I'm so bad for noticing that shit. I should. I'd probably notice it when you like now if you grew it, but I'm so bad when people,
I barely notice when my boyfriend gets a haircut, and I live with him.
same. My husband's like, I did this the other day, and I'm like, sorry. Didn't
Yeah,
notice.
I don't notice.
Yeah.
But when men do it,
No,
Yeah,
I
but
don't.
I have a pet peeve when you're kissing and one of their freaking
They're
mustache
so sharp.
go up your freaking nose. Those ones hurt.
No, man,
Like,
I don't notice that, and I'm terrible with dates, and I hold zero grudge against him if he forgets any of that stuff.
well, I mean,
Anyways.
you're pretty low key when it comes to that kind of stuff. I would think.
I am a lot.
So
I don't know if that was sarcastic or not, but it's true.
No, I meant it genuinely. I mean, you give off that vibe that you don't let that kind of stuff bother you, really.
No,
I
I'm too
thought you were
busy.
totally joking too.
I was confused because she was laughing. I'm too busy trying to keep my life from exploding from other things.
On there. Adam, did you have a chance to read the response?
I did, yeah.
Okay. And since you're almost a lawyer, what's your
I'm not.
comments? Since you're almost a lawyer. So
I mean, I did not go and cross-check the case references that she
Right.
stated in there. I probably will tomorrow when I have a little bit more time because that kind of stuff interests me. But I mean, if accurate, I feel like there's some valid points there. I felt like it was very well written. I was a little like iffy about some of the stuff with the clerk, but as far as like, I mean, I agree. I think a lot of it is moot, and regardless of of why she filed that order the other day, of course it had to do with this. But one of the things I found interesting in there was, it was, oh, I'm blanking now.
moot. One of the things in there.
I felt like the date, the 42 days thing was interesting. I mean, I feel like it's probably a technical thing, and just because they've never ordered anything on something 42 days or more doesn't mean they can't. So, and then I thought the point about Libby and Abby's names not being redacted, I found that interesting because that to me is like a technicality that they found in the rules that they were like, oh, we can use this.
because the prosecution, it was Weineke had posted something on Twitter. It will never be X to me, always Twitter. That like something from the prosecution that had used their names, and they said something really general after that. I can't remember what the wording was, but it was interesting that even though I have like kind of looked into what you're supposed to redact, and even though I think like ethically you should probably redact people's names even if you don't legally have to.
I agree.
Like if they were going to put anything in there, they would have put that. So it was
Right.
interesting just to see.
And I want to look into more because the part where they were like, that it's federal law, in federal law you do that. But then I'm like, well, is the Indiana Supreme Court? It's not a federal law. But they said that, in the Indiana code or whatever, they referred to the federal law. So I'm not quite sure how that breakdown, translates to because we've seen Libby and Abby's name in all the documents, at least in the trial court. I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference once it's in the Supreme Court. I'm not sure. I doubt it, but
Well, when the PCA first came out, they were redacted. It was victim 1 and victim 2, wasn't it?
yeah,
Right.
But then when was it that they were
well,
originally named?
because there were like 32 versions of the PC.
Yeah, maybe I know that's what gets confusing is because lots of times we've seen the unredacted version, like the Ron Logan one, and stuff like that. We've seen the unredacted, so you kind of get confused in your head.
Right, and like when you brought that up the other night, I forgot that those were redacted by Murder Sheet because we had the unredacted Ron Logan search warrant, and so it gets mixed up, sometimes. So I apologize when I was making that point about the redactions the other night, but thank you for Sunny I think it was you, Sunny, that brought that to my attention.
Yeah. Who else were you on with? Huh? Cheater?
Travis.
Oh,
Travis.
now. I see how it goes. Okay, fine.
Weineke said that in the States from 9/25/23, so September 25th, the response to Allen's motion to suppress, that's when they used Libby and Abby's full first and last names, is what it says. So that wasn't that long ago either.
Oh.
Not that matters, but
Adam just popped out for a second.
I know I got the little circles for just a minute, so I apologize.
I'm even plugged in hard now.
Ooh.
But yeah,
I thought it was kind of interesting, and maybe it was just their strategy, considering that she had already put. Well, I guess my first question before I say this is, she hasn't done everything they asked her to do, right? Or everything they asked for? The remedy?
In that first
well, that's why they came out with that one earlier today saying, well, that deals with part of the problem, type of thing on that amicus one. Yeah, the first one this morning. It's like, well, she dealt with part of the problem, and then they went on to say what hasn't been dealt with in a sense. But
so do you guys think that when was it that she put out that order to fix that? Was that 2 days ago?
14th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
14.
So do you think that they wrote that in the last 2 days because they were like, "Oh, this is what she's trying to do. We got to get ahead of this," or do you think they already were writing that?
I feel like they have it prepared because they know the steps of what's probably going to happen next. That's how I feel. I feel like they've almost, copied and paste, got their stuff in there, and it's just like.
Wasn't it very similar to the one they'd already put in support of it?
I didn't read it, to be honest.
It
was by the media something.
Yeah, you guys.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Is that the one that I did this morning? Right on
the media coalition.
Yeah.
Because it was like about the media, and then it went into the documents, and basically saying about the 118-page zip file and how nothing was labeled. It was just repeating.
It was a pain in the ass. I will support them all the way on that. I
high five you on that one because I was saying that this morning. Honestly, Adam, you remember when we got that, right? and there was nothing labeled, and you're trying to figure out, someone would say, Sonny, you need to go to number 46 or whatever it was. And I'm like, what the frick is the 46th one?
I
And
spent
it
like
ended,
an hour and a half trying to rename them and label them,
Yeah.
and I finally just quit. And then somebody I knew sent me a searchable document that has all of them in there. It's like 1 billion pages long, so I just use that now.
oh, I'll take that, Ivy.
I'll send it to you. It's way easier.
Yeah, thank you. Because I remember, because we were going through the live, and then it dawned on us that was the evidence one, but we kind of bypassed it because it's kind of like all those documents dropped. We went live and we just figured out we'll go through them, and then a lot of it was just the same stuff that we had seen, in a sense, or boring stuff. And so it was just kind of like you were skimming through it, and then all of a sudden it was like, after doing that live, like towards the end, it was like, oh, that's what that person was talking about. And we had actually missed it, because when you opened it up, it said like whatever pages of whatever. And like I said, it was a lot that dropped. Anyways, it gave me personally a headache, because you're just trying to go through them one by one. They're not labeled whatsoever. And yeah, so I think that it would have been nice if they were at least given some sort of name before they dropped them.
I've said this in the chat several times now. I don't understand. Maybe there's a technical problem. I don't know why, like how it is with the Supreme Court one, how you can click, like it has the entries and then they're blue and you can click them and it goes. Why don't they do that?
It's up to the clerk's office. And I would assume anyone using the Odyssey system has the capability to do it. I guess it's just how they choose.
How much time do they waste sending emails to people?
Well, I mean, if there was one part in the response where they even mentioned that they're under no obligation to provide digital copies. Some places will make you literally pay and get print. Like in Charlotte, Charlotte's the 12th biggest city in the country, and if I want documents from Mecklenburg County, which is where Charlotte is, I have to physically go to the courthouse.
The Canoe did that.
And I have to pay $1 a page, and I have to get them printed out there. They will not email documents. So, I mean, Carroll County doesn't technically even have to email the document out. They're still available to the public, but they don't have to be emailed.
They really, we don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but they really should change that law or whatever it is, because is that really public access if you live not in the area? It's not. I was lucky enough to have somebody
that's an argument for sure, yeah.
Get my Tippecanoe ones for free in a manner that I won't describe.
Yeah, because I was looking, they did a whole bunch of documents that came out in the Madalena Kojikari case, which is the little 11-year-old that's been missing for, oh my gosh, almost a year in Charlotte now. And they were like, they were like, because I was like, they've got to be online. And they were like, nope, you have to come to the court, you have to come to the clerk's office and pay $1 a page and get them all here.
Yeah, in Canada, we have to pay by the word.
Wow.
To get documents. Yeah.
And every Canadian I know, there's a lot of words.
We talk a lot. a lot.
And $1 a page is ridiculous. That is highway robbery.
Right.
That's when I was trying to get, I'll just be open. It was when I was trying to get Greeno's records from Tippecanoe. He has 5 or 6 cases there. And since I don't have it in front of me, I don't know what has good information and what doesn't. But if I would have paid $1 a page for all of it, it would have cost me $200 or something.
Right. Ridiculous. Is he worth it?
Well, but I think what you're saying, I think it's a very valid point about and I think that's something that probably will have to be addressed at some point, because these are issues that weren't even something that people thought about 20 years ago, because of the internet. What does public access mean? It's the same with cameras in the courtroom. They can have no cameras in a courtroom, but it's still accessible to the public.
That's right.
If you literally go and sit in court. And I think, access to public documents is, that'll all have to be probably addressed probably in a federal manner at some point. I don't know.
Yeah,
Although then people are like, no, it's the state's rights.
And I think there are some things that you have access to, but you have to actually go to the clerk of the court to have access to them.
I mean, that's what I mean. Yeah. Whereas some
Yeah.
counties will literally just email you, like Carroll County, they'll email you, and usually very quickly,
Very
whatever
quick.
you, or if it's not, under seal.
You know what was funny this morning is so normally when a document comes out, I will instantly, like if I'm on my iPad, I could get it, and I email Faith right away. This morning, it was like, look what I have for you. It was the first time she was like, because she knows that I bug her like all the time, and by the way, Charmaine, I showed her those beautiful pictures of the Northern Lights because I was
yeah.
like, look what I have for you. But anyways, so it was like, oh, and it was the letter from the Baston person, whatever his
Baston.
name is again, Baston, and the thing, and I was just like, oh, and then in my brain, I'm like, did we see that stuff before? These are documents that are unreleased. I can't remember because we had talked about it before at some point. I remember maybe it was just because like it was brought up. Maybe it was by MS that was talking about it.
Oh, we did. I found it. And the reason I didn't get to finish the letter that came out today is because I got distracted and I started putting together a file of all the documents on him. And there's in the chat, there's
lot.
two. There's a bunch. I think I have 7 in there right now, and I don't have them all. I put them in the chat. There's like a part 1 and a part 2 to a complaint, and it's like the back and forth for that of his complaints in the jail. That's what we went over before.
Yeah,
I did hear somewhere though that the whole reason the defense wanted to talk to him in the first place was because the judgment was in his favor. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe somebody reported it wrong, but I mean, and then when I read that today and it said I basically was dismissed or whatever, I thought I heard it on your show, Sunny, and I'm like, I honestly did.
I thought they wanted to talk to him because you wrote the letter.
Right.
Yeah.
You heard what you heard. You heard that he. I'm sorry, Charmaine. That he won what?
That the judgment against what was it, the prison guards or whatever, like what the letters and everything was about at the end. I have read so much today. I can't remember what it was called, but it was kind of the finding, and at the end of it, they basically dismissed it and closed the case. But I had heard before that they ruled in his favor, and that's why the defense wanted to talk to him, because Westville was found to have abused him in some way. And it could have been something that I misheard by the murder sheet, possibly, but I thought it was you guys going over it. Like, I don't know. There's been some bullshit
they
in
did do an episode back in July. I've only listened. I listened to it. I don't even know if I listened to it. But Murder Sheet did an episode about Robert Baston back in July, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Is there something about Woodhouse? Did he win some kind of a?
Oh, he sued as well. Yeah.
Did he win that? Because maybe I'm mixing the two up.
Yeah, you might be mixing him up with that.
Yeah.
When he sued Tobe.
When he's
Yeah.
Whoops.
But he didn't really win either.
But it wasn't like Baston just flat out lost, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Woodhouse is not flat out lost.
No.
Right. They settled basically. So no one won, no one lost, I guess.
What am I trying to look for here?
I'd almost forgotten all about the Baston guy, but we knew that when we knew that they were going to release this letter by inmate, we knew it was Baston. I mean,
yeah,
it had to be. And I think I emailed Sunny that earlier today. I was like, "This is what we were waiting for."
And I was thinking the whole time, like, didn't we already read this? Like,
that's what I was thinking too. I was like, huh. And I in my head, I was like, didn't we read that? There's something like it seems so familiar.
I had 2 people message me and they were like, "Didn't this already come out?" And I was like, "No, it's a different letter, but it's similar in tone."
So, yeah. Okay. It starts beginning to get a little bit mush. like I said, as
Also-
time moves on. Go ahead, Charmaine.
It's all so outlandish. Everything that he was claiming, like if all of that was true, to me, I think something would have been done about
Right.
breaking his foot and ankle, and just wow, that's not really something you can cover up. Do you know what I'm saying?
It was a one-time
Especially when there's
thing.
a spotlight on,
Yeah.
you know, on the facility.
Yes, yes.
I might be a little biased, but I don't. I mean, obviously it's possible, but I am skeptical about a mental health worker witnessing it and just watching.
Right.
Right.
And the suicide companion, or sorry, crap. I'm so sorry, but those companions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, it doesn't even have any like shred of truth to it. You can't even try to believe it unless you're a total conspiracy theorist.
Right. I think it's much more likely that, you know, like in the report they came out with it, where the whoever it was that said he just refused to get out of a cell. I think that's much more likely, because also, you know, I mean, the level of conspiracy you're having to allege when, you know, the court ordered him to be transferred, that, you know, some, like, you know, guard or, you know, individual in Westville is going to defy a judge's, you know, order and you know, refuse to let him go to court.
No, but at the same time, how can they not force him? I understand what Ivy's saying, and that makes perfect sense. He's a lawsuit waiting to happen, basically, if they have to use cell extraction tactics to get him out. I understand that, but I mean,
I like
if
that. He's like, let me make a phone call.
Yeah.
You know
Like,
what?
do you really
I just thought
need
of
him?
this too. I wonder if one of the reasons he didn't want to go is because had he been on, like, let's say he is lying, then if he was going on the stand, then it would be perjury, and
Right.
then he could get charged again. So if he's like, no, you can't make me go, I mean, if I'm petty enough that I'd be like, you're going, like,
You know what?
you're going,
That's
and you're
exactly-
testifying.
That's exactly what went through my head, Ivy. I'm like, dude, you didn't go probably because you were freaking lying.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
This guy is, you know, litigious. He has an axe to grind, and he has a huge profile person
right.
awaiting trial in his prison. So of course he's piggybacking on that.
This is like his second or third. Well, I think he started out at Westville, then he complained and got himself moved somewhere else, and then he complained a bunch of times there and got himself moved back to Westville. And at some point, they like took his, which, I mean, I don't really like this, but I don't know what else the solution is. They took his, I don't want to say privilege away to like make complaints, didn't they? Because he made so many, it was like crazy.
That reminds me of
Does anybody know if you can FOIA video from a prison? Is that a thing?
You asked that earlier today, and
Yeah.
I forgot
And-
to even look through it.
Did you
I
get
vaguely
trained on
seen
that?
I'm not sure myself. I don't know. I don't either. I've never requested a FOIA myself.
Can we request? I don't think we would be able to request, could we? Being Canadian citizens.
I know. I was wondering about that too. You know, hence, you know, Adam's in the States there, but Adam.
But I mean,
No, I don't think you ever
it's
did
still an
that.
open case. They're never gonna grant a FOIA for something like that when there's a trial
For
looming.
Baston?
Oh, for Baston. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I thought
for
you were.
Boston.
I don't know. I meant for a video of like when he says that happened, because I think some of his complaints have the exact times. I think.
Yeah, I'm not
And
sure.
he is saying, look at the security video or whatever. He is telling them to check and verify his story.
Who was it that does? They got all the ones in Idaho. Is it Truth and Transparency? Have her do it.
You Canadians can use my address.
That is an interesting offer, Steffa, for everything or just this? Because there's ways that Canadians cannot make money the way that Americans can with social media.
Right.
100%. I talked about that.
You want to?
Yeah.
How about just give me a cut and we'll make a deal?
I don't want to ignore Steffa, so I just want to say hi,
Already.
Steffa.
Oh, you don't want to ignore her. Yeah. Well, I think that sounds like a Steffa issue right there. Because you all know she's batshit crazy, right? So yeah. So you might have valid issues, but it gets lost as Steffa by, you know, the tree expert advice sometimes. Um,
The
now,
same thing is that in London, honestly, they may well have had very valid points for Frank's hearing, but it got lost in all that crap that they
mhm,
decided to throw in there. It's no different.
great. On there, yeah, and I honestly don't want to talk about this any too much because I know, like I said, like this live is kind of from yesterday's live. So I want, if there's anything else you guys want to say towards this part, then I'm gonna ask Ivy in a second about the live. I didn't watch the live with Ruckus and whatever, let alone did I even know. No, somebody did say it was on, but that's when my husband came in the room and he's like, you get your butt over here and come lie with me, because sometimes he goes for naps, and that's pretty much what happened. Lied with my husband and then woke up at, I don't know, 5 or close to 5 or something like that. So is there anything else to the points of this? And then I'm going to ask Ivy about
Nope.
the lot.
That's it. I have.
No. Okay.
Not-
So only because someone made a comment. So the live is kind of like truth, lies, rumors, stories from yesterday. And so Ivy, so just you were on Ruckus, and if you guys, anyone in here, if they don't know, Ruckus Rocks channel. So what was that live about today? Was it about this stuff at all, or was it just about Delphi stuff? And someone made a comment about like the warrant, the search warrant and stuff.
It was a little bit about this. We just kind of talked about it, and then how conversations like that go. They follow the path that they're going to follow, basically. So we just talked about whatever came up, Delphi related, and then
Okay.
I feel like Ruckus has said this before too, but the search warrant came up, and he always says that because he says that he knows what happened, so he kind of basically he says because he knows how police work, when he sees the things they do, he can tell why they're doing it, which helps him go down the path. And then
Right.
I think he might know somebody too. I don't know. But he says that he basically knows what happened, but he's done in the investigation part because the police part is over. So now he's just kind of watching how the rest goes. So the warrant came up and he was like, well, there's one thing in there that stands out, and that's the important thing.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, because I've heard it on other channels. It's been talked about.
Okay.
Right. And so for me, it's like, there's channels that are talking about it, and then for some reason, it's like there's other channels that are not, and it's about
When
the
you say
motorcycle.
talking about it, what are you talking about? What part exactly?
Talking about the motorcycle cover,
Okay.
because that's been brought up in another live by somebody else, and so it's one of those things that I thought people weren't really
Just curious,
talking about it.
do you remember what other live it was brought up in?
I do know.
Just want to say,
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave that one, because it was one of those things. It's like it seemed to be like hush hush, but I wanted to talk about this, as a matter of fact, like this particular thing, because like I was talking with Adam yesterday, and the whole scene. And this is where we're talking about rumors, blah blah blah, and all that stuff now. So I remember last year. I remember at some point Frank was talking about these files on a thing, and this wasn't private. He was talked about it on his live and stuff like that. That this Sue Wright or something like that had these files on her
I thought
windshield.
they
Now,
were separate.
sorry.
I thought they were separate incidents. Oh wait, maybe I'm thinking of when Frank's
Well,
files flew away.
no, that's for no, because whenever I think of file, I think about Frank's. Remember his paperwork flying away? I think
Yeah, I
that
think
was the day of the press conference on October 31st. All of a sudden, he's like, "Shit, I left my files on the roof. They all flew away," or something like that.
So
On
Frank
there.
was talking about Sue getting files on her car.
So if anyone hasn't seen The Art of Deduction, if you guys want to go and listen to him at The Art of Deduction, he was talking about Mike Thomas, Sue Wright. He's trying to find the actual, been trying to find the actual leaker. Now, for me personally, that's a rabbit hole I don't actually, like, in a sense, care about, because there are so many leakers within this thing. So meaning everyone has their missions. So I respect the fact that he's going down that, even though for me, it's like they're out. Okay. Like, there's leakers and all different things, but I think his mission is to find the leaker of the first files, right? And so this is what me and Adam were talking about, because people are claiming that there was these crime scene photos from last year, and the thing is that we don't believe that that's true, to be honest with you. And again, this is our own personal opinion. Did you want to say anything to that, Adam?
The only person that was out there claiming that there were crime scene photos out there publicly, that then spread, that I think kind of started this, was that Chris Todd said something on Court TV about having crime scene photos. He could have either been alluding to the picture or the clothes in the creek, which, everyone kind of received last fall. And then he also had sent around 2 images that were not of the Delphi crime scene, where there was blurred out. They were from a crime scene, but they were the bodies in them were blurred out. They were not from Libby and Abby's case. I don't know the motivation of why he would say that, but one, anyone has seen the clothing in the creek, those pictures were not leaked from the defense. They weren't leaked from law enforcement. They weren't leaked from the prosecution. They were leaked from someone privately, to Chris Todd,
a family member. Correct.
And then as far as the other pictures that everyone was alluding to, they weren't even of Delphi. So, to my knowledge, even Mark Robert has said that he didn't receive the actual crime scene photos until October 3rd.
Hold on, let me do 1 second. Charmaine just dropped 10 It's a Criming Shame gifts, memberships for people. Thank you, Charmaine.
So nice, Charmaine.
You just wanted me to stop talking.
No. Like,
I was waiting to jump in, but not at all. No.
I just wanted to go quickly, just because before they all pass, I want to say, so Crimezilla got a whoops.
Who was Crimezilla got one?
Okay, so Laura Downing got one. Mummy Kitty, Sadie Neal, Heather Tucker, and on. And Sleuthy, so hi Sleuthy Goosey here. Jerry, Miss Faithful, and Angela. You guys can thank you so much, Charmaine, for doing that, for just gifting memberships again. That's so okay.
I don't know why they make it like that. Like, why don't they just make it go once? I don't understand that.
I know, it's so dumb. That's why I'm going to mute myself. And Adam, continue, please.
No, I'm done.
I want to add something to what Adam said. I went back fairly recently and watched Chris Todd on, I can't remember, I watched both on Court TV and then again on
Snake.
It was, yeah. And I can't remember which one he said it on, but he said, I have crime scene photos. And then there was people asking in the chat and he said, well, no, I don't have any of the bodies, but I'm looking for them. So at that time, he was those closed pictures crime scene photos.
Yes.
And
that got mixed up with a lot of people thinking that the pictures that were leaked this October or September, whenever, that they've been out there since 2022, and to my knowledge, they haven't been. Not one person that I have talked to or knew had these pictures until October of 2023.
And another question I have after listening to all this Mark Robert stuff is, here's like one of the big things I want to know. When did he go from saying there was an F carving in the tree to there was an F in blood? When did that happen? Because people talk about him having information, then if you look at the information, it's not accurate. So then, how does that work?
And I was never even really aware of that person until I heard of him, but it was mainly in the light of he would say things, then they wouldn't come to fruition, they weren't true or whatever. I don't know the guy, but clearly he came on to some actual evidence and some real information with this leak that happened this year. But as far as when he went from saying the carving to the F being in blood, I don't know. I do feel like it was this year that we started hearing about it being in blood, though. Because, we always had heard about the rumor of an F being, or a letter being left at the crime scene. I first heard the F part of it on Gray Hughes, actually. But that was back when it was still a carving.
And if you think back to, and I kind of go back and forth, and if I want to say this publicly, but if you go back and look at the Woodhouse video, well, I don't think they're there anymore, but Woodhouse's videos with the messages between him and Mark, there's at least 2 things in there that are not true. And I don't want to just blatantly blame Mark publicly and call him a liar publicly, but either he wasn't being truthful or the person who sent it to him wasn't being truthful. And I'm pretty sure that's not even possible on one, because I think one of them he was claiming it was his email, and it wasn't. And then the other one was he was claiming he had Libby's birth certificate. He said something about before the funeral home was chosen, which doesn't even make sense logically, but that's a 100% fake photoshopped death certificate.
Yeah, that email was originally sent from Andrew Baldwin to I think his name is Tober. He's a member of a channel called The Unraveling, I think it is.
So then my question is, well, why is Mark saying those things to Woodhouse?
I don't know. I don't know because like I said, I don't know the guy. Maybe he was messing with him. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't even speculate because I'm not sure. But but I do know factually that was not his email.
And the other thing with that is, this is a little more, I guess, my opinion on it, my speculation. I don't know if you guys remember the picture he sent. I think it was him that sent it to Woodhouse in those messages. It almost looked like a metallic F, it was like an F carving, just like a picture of it, but it looked like a carving.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm thinking, based on that picture, he still thought it was a carving, and that was in April. So
I can't remember. I've only looked at those messages like once, and I might have some other ones, but
it was in the spring. I'm pretty sure about that, like 99% sure about that one. So that means as of spring of 2023, he still thought it was a carving. And if you had the pictures that were leaked, you would know that's not true. Well, unless you thought the blood on the tree, unless you didn't see the F and assumed it was something else. You're like, there was that, I must not have the carving picture type of thing, but
right.
I forgot how we got on this, but that's my opinion about it.
No, I think I'm good now. I think I'm good with the things. Sorry, Steph, your thing didn't go off because it was I had it muted because it was a different one. Because when Charmaine did those 10 memberships, and again, thank you, Charmaine. It gives the Unstoppable song, but just quickly for Stepha, and then we'll come back to that. I'll just quickly play what it would sound like. Okay, it does. It does. Okay. See, I heard it through the grapevine. I'm gonna lose my mind.
It's a good one for this case, right? I heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah, that's why I did it. I thought, perfect.
To that point, I would like to ask, and I know that there wasn't a gag order before Richard Allen was arrested. I get it. But what makes it okay for, since day one, you guys have been hearing about the carving on like the F tree, or then we found out it was blood or rumors, and then we were talking about possibly carvings into the girls, that kind of stuff. Then come to find out, after the memorandum came out, Barbara McDonald came out and said, I've had these images or whatever for years from a source close to the investigation. how is that okay? That they're
There was
for
no gag
years
order.
leaking little bits of information.
Right. Well,
That-
I mean, Charmaine, I don't know if it's okay, but it's not legally,
Yeah,
it's not legally wrong if there's not a gag order.
yeah.
I'm not, I'm not, saying that it's good to have leaks, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a 6-year long investigation. Of course, things have been leaked. That's no one's denying that. Um, throughout the years over the case, and some of them might have been intentional, some of them might have been unintentional. Think of how many people were involved in this investigation.
It's amazing that more information came out, but it's just some people
It
are
is
just
amazing.
so, and I am completely offended about the crime scene pictures being out of the victims. I truly, truly am, and true crime design.
Right. And that and that point you make, I mean, it's I think that's important because, I mean, you look at we never officially had anything even giving us any concrete information about the manner of death until literally what was it, last year?
Yeah.
I mean the fact that so many people knew everything about this case and things have never been leaked.
Thank you.
That more things haven't been leaked. That to me is a testament, actually.
Well,
surprising.
and that's what we were talking. Oh,
Sorry, Sunny.
no, go ahead.
But if you look at the way this investigation has been handled and with all the secrecy, and I get it, it's all for a reason, but then
One sec,
the
Shelley.
thing in law enforcement in this case is a stark contrast to if you look at the Koberger's case or even the Long Island serial killer. The court of public opinion has, definitely convicted those other two for sure, because law enforcement has been so forthcoming with the information that they can while still holding back some. I think, my own personal opinion, law enforcement has done this to themselves with the trust, and you know what I mean?
I agree. I've always said that silence leads to speculation.
Yeah, yeah, it just fuels it.
The one thing I'm going to say more quickly about the motorcycle cover, okay, is Art of Deduction was talking about it on his live. I'm dropping the link to that. But the thing is, I'm not going to tell you anything more than that because, like, if it's true, if it's true about it, then it's true. Anyways, you can go watch Art of Deduction. It was a live from the other day, a couple days ago. I don't remember which one. And so that's why I was like, oh, I thought people weren't talking about it. But then, each to their own with their information, right? So I don't think he specifically tells you exactly. But anyway, you can go listen to it yourself from, I think it was from like 2 days ago or something. So I dropped his channel there. So, because I know that it's being talked about, but I'm not going to tell you publicly.
There are people speculating about the importance of it. I know that factually what we can say is if you look at the publicly released evidence list of things they recovered during the search warrant, one of the items listed is a motorcycle cover. People are putting a lot of importance on that motorcycle cover, and people are speculating as to why. I don't factually know why, so I'm not going to say.
Well,
and by the way that list is written, it looks to me like it's just another Carfax report that maybe wasn't in the folder. It could be something as innocent as that. Like they didn't have a Carfax report for that and those two other vehicles that were on there.
So again, the live.
Motorcycle.
Yeah, I was gonna say the live is truth, lies, rumors, stories. That's what the title of it is. So and then we'll get into.
I was wondering why nobody was listening to me. I was on mute.
Oh,
I was like, can I add something? Can I add?
Yeah.
I have something to add about that. So
Sure.
I'm not going to say what the theory is. There is a little bit of it on Art of Deduction's community page. He's he talks and writes in a kind of a roundabout way. So you kind of have to piece it together and get used to that. But I will say that I think it's important. I know that everybody has their sources, and sometimes, you have that one good source that you can go to, and nobody else has that information because it's an inside source. But for something like this, that's coming from different directions, I always want to hear it from at least like two different sources. And I've heard this story from 4 or 5 people now, maybe more. And in my opinion, at least, it all goes back to the same person.
It does.
And
Right.
I don't trust that person.
Well,
And not to mention, it doesn't make any sense logically.
Well, and that's why I said I've heard the speculation, but until I see something factually, I don't, I don't know. I mean, I do know that they recovered a motorcycle cover during the search warrant, but as of why, I have no idea.
On there. So I'm not gonna say I have no idea because I know what is being said about it. Absolutely. Am I gonna share it with you? No, because it's not fact. And
Right. It's speculation.
Okay, like what Adam said, is that if there was pictures out there of the crime scene, trust me, within that whole time of a year, those would have been leaked. That's no different than these photos that have come out with the crime scene, no different than Chris Todd's, right? That, came from the Abby's side of the family over there. So, which we've said, okay, I've talked about this on lives before. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but we've talked about that. Like I said, some information, you guys, it's sorry, but it's something that I'm not willing to say more than that for that. But so there's the crime scene photos. Now, who knows exactly what Chris Todd was given? Okay, we do know that there is 3 photos, basically. Well, 4, but 3 because 2 of them are the same. Photos out there, and that's of the clothing. We know that these crime scene photos are out there now, and no, there's no little freaking antlers growing off the head, but I don't know where that really came from. I've seen the top of that picture, and there's no freaking antlers or horns growing off of Abby's head. So that's just, to me, an imaginary thing or something that was, I don't know. But we all know that photos are probably taken at different stages of the crime scene, so who truly knows? But I can't see that really. And so I'm gonna leave the
one thing
reindeer
Ryan
here.
said that I had never heard. He said he heard, because I've heard that there are 4 crime scene like actual crime scene photos. He said he heard there was 22.
Oh, I heard 7. I heard a news person say like 7 or 12 or something. I think
Where's
it
all
was
that
7.
coming from? And I've only ever heard people describe 4 too. So like whoever's saying these bigger numbers, I haven't heard any other descriptions of pictures.
Isn't that telling?
Yeah, the thing is, to me, and this is what we're talking about, like I said, again, rumors and whatever. So apparently, supposedly, some YouTubers supposedly have the files of the case. But me and Adam were talking about this, but we're not willing to say that that's true actually or not, because of the source, this one person, Mark Roberts. So we're not willing to say that. Now, there's people saying like, making comments towards it and stuff like that. But if there was files leaked last year, they would have been gotten around, trust me, by now, at least in our eyes. Now, if you have the files, good on you, solve the case, right? But for me, it's kind of like, well, those files, trust me, guys, they would have been swishing around between us at this point in time, right, Adam? Like, that's what we were really talking about. So who knows what people have and don't have, to be honest. I actually don't even give a shit, to be honest with you. And the reason I don't is because, honestly, leaks are going to happen. They always do, from both sides of the fence. People are going to claim, that they've solved DELPHI. Frickin' I did that, right? With my POI. That's where I learned my lesson. But
and those are things that, had we had a hearing on the 19th of October, and the state had been allowed to present their case and present their witnesses that are involved in the investigation of the leak, we might have actually found out those answers. Had Andrew Baldwin and Rosie not quit, we might have gotten those answers that day. but
Maybe.
they didn't, go through the hearing, so we haven't gotten them.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting, that affidavit that Mitch Westerman did. I'm like, how was that thing one page? I'm like, I want to know what he sent out.
Oh, which one? Which one, Adam? What? Who sent
Mitch
out?
Westerman.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Right.
You know,
We don't know how many crime scene photos was given to Chris Todd.
or what information.
Or what information. I was, just gonna add that.
But
we don't know.
But
how
he's
much,
the only person around that can actually answer that still.
right, exactly. So that would all be really just speculation. And I'm not about to sit here and try to dig for that stuff. If information comes the way of the channel, when we see it and stuff like that, okay, whatever. But I'm not going to sit there. I don't care enough about that stuff because at the end of the day, I'm just waiting kind of for Abby and Libby to get their justice. And I don't really care if this person has the photos of the crime scene or that person or this and stuff like that, because they're out there. There's no changing that anymore. They're out there. It's disgusting that they're out there. I agree. But, kind of like if somebody has files on the case and, type of thing and can, put it in, what do I want to call it? Put it in kind of like cryptic talk and stuff like that. So be it. It's what they want to do. It's their channel, whatever they want to say on here. But for us, that's just a whole bunch. Let me put it this way: between Brandon Woodhouse, Mark Roberts, Mitch Westerman, Forston, and whoever else, like I said, who knows what was truly put out there? And I'm not about to sit there and waste my time on that rabbit hole myself, because I'm interested in just simply justice for Abby and Libby and truth to what happened to them. And if somebody has an idea, then great. But that will all come out.
I agree that even though Mitch Westerman's affidavit says that he, was visiting a girlfriend or whatever, went in, took a picture, that's all that's in there. Can we all agree that that is not the entire story?
That's not the entire story. Yeah.
100%.
And Forston was in Franklin, remember?
I was saying that, but before that affidavit came out.
Yeah.
I have a question about the pictures real quick before you get off of them. One thing I did, let's say that there actually is only 4 pictures, crime scene pictures.
Okay.
From the description that I've heard people give who've seen them, there's one of all of Abby. There's one of all, let me start over. There's one of all of Libby. There's one of all of Abby. And there's one of the top of Abby's head. And then there's one of Abby's legs. I kind of wonder, why, hypothetically, if the defense leaked those on purpose, why 3 of Abby?
Well, again, who knows to the person who leaked them? Who knows if he did have 10 or 22 or whatever?
I mean, hypothetically, if it was a defense strategy, I'm not saying it was, but hypothetically, it just made me wonder, what if they were using it to, point the public in a certain direction? What is it about the pictures of Abby? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, are they the 4 pictures that they thought, they thought painted the, what they were writing in that memorandum the closest? I mean, considering I don't feel like they paint that picture.
I don't either.
That's hard to, that would be hard to, give us the reason, because you got it there. I'm sure. Well, how many it says how many crime scene photos there are in the evidence. How many?
I was going to say, if we probably went back to the evidence, it would tell us.
39, 29?
So,
And I think that's I think that's a small number.
Yeah.
But I think it said in the discovery how many crime scene photos there were.
In the discovery.
I'm sure hundreds were taken. But as far as what were given to what are important to the case, I think it said 29 or 39 were in discovery.
Let me ask you something. Let's say somebody they're taking crime scene photos, and let's just say there was 100, and then they weed through them all, and then they go, that one's
what
bad
happens to the
quality.
others?
This is bad quality. This one's kind of blurry. Do they just, in the trash they go, or shredder?
Doubtful.
Or do they have to still keep them? I'm curious about that. Actually, now that you say that,
I would think it would all have to be protected.
I see what I think I see what Ivy's asking though, almost like, Ivy, are you kind of almost maybe saying So why is there 3 of Abby and only 1 of Libby? Was it geared
Yeah.
more towards Abby than Libby?
Well, just what was it? And again, hypothetically, if the defense was doing it on purpose, what message were they trying to put out there with it? You would expect there to be 2 and 2. So what was it about that they were pointing
I
to?
guess, I don't know. Like,
I think you have to also consider if there's any truth to Andrew Baldwin's side of the story with these leaked photos.
Mm.
We can surmise that Mitch wasn't left alone in that room for long enough to take pictures of hundreds of pictures. You know, we probably
right.
pictures of what was quickly available to him as to not get caught, if you
Right.
believe
Daisy.
that narrative.
That could
Well,
be
that-
Daisy. I think Daisy, that's a good point.
It is, yeah.
If you read that memorandum, they basically,
I know.
you know, they're basically saying that, you know, if you go by the Odinism route, that, you know, Abby was the target because of her mom. Henceforth, why there could be 3 pictures of Abby and only one.
Though, because she was dating, I'm not going to say his name, but he's white.
What?
I'm not going to say the name of the man she was dating, but he's white. So I never got
Well,
that
so
either.
are Libby and Abby, which is part.
I know, but like, I wonder where they got that information.
And not just that, I think more can be gleaned from what was actually, how they were actually left at the crime scene, rather than how many pictures they took of Abby. I mean, I would love to have a conversation with Alexa about some of the things that I've noticed myself that made me really reconsider what happened there.
Can you repeat what you said in the very first of
You
that?
broke up a little bit.
Oh, just that I mean, I think there's more to be gleaned from how the girls were left than how many pictures were taken and or leaked of one girl and not the other. I would love to have a conversation with Alexa about some of the things that you and I have talked about, Sunny, that are really.
Yeah.
If you guys do that show, please let me on. I've been dying to have that conversation. I mean, that sounds bad.
Well,
but
let me just say this. Alexa, like I said, you know, was working on a case outside of like YouTube here and stuff. She's burnt out. She hasn't been feeling well. So you guys, it's not like Alexa doesn't want to come on that, but I'm not asking her knowing she's, you know, been under the weather, you know, and just burnt out and stuff like that. Alexa, like I said, Alexa knows because we talk things, but I just want you guys to know that Alexa is here and around, obviously, but for the said reasons, I'm not going to sit there and, you know, hey, Alexa,
Right.
kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
Travis did. It's a long day. He said, you know, kind of not really up for it. It's been a long day for me. I've been on a few, you know, different social media or Zooms or something like that. And, you know, I don't know if he wants me to tell him about, you know, whatever, Travis.
Yes.
You know, but just
He
personal.
asked me to step in for.
Yeah, he asked exactly. But I want to say to you, Ivy, that's a very good thought because I never thought about that at all. So that's what I mean, like when people, you know, kind of like talk together and think together and stuff like that. Because I never would have thought about that. That 3 pictures were of Abby and 1 was of Libby. So that's something that never just crossed my mind, to be honest with you, to even think about it.
yeah, it just came up in my mind like yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, it's a thought because it does make you kind of go, yeah, I guess you're right. But I wish we knew the true story because we know that Forston was in Franklin and that he was asked to poke holes, you know, in the defense's Odinism stuff. You guys all seen that on Criminality. She had them. I have those. Most people have those screenshots between Forston and you know, Mark Roberts. Was that the one with the convo? Was it Forston and Mark Roberts?
Yeah, Forston and Mark Robert.
Yeah. And then you have like the whole Brandon Woodhouse with all the map drive and stuff like that. You know, it's just this, like, no offense to Mark Roberts, but he reminds me of a Julie Melvin, that they're kind of in everything, you know, like this. And it's kind of like, I don't know, they're just in everything to do with Delphi. And Julie Melvin's been doing Delphi since day one, obviously. Like there's the relation there with the family and stuff like that. But Mark Roberts seems like, I'm not sure, has he been in it from day one? And he's like, you know, kind of like talking to this person, that person, this person, you know, that person. And to me, it's kind of like a little bit to me, this
I'll be right back.
Baston guy, you know, like you don't know is what's true or not true because you know you don't know to believe what they're saying or not to believe what they're saying, you know. And so it just becomes whatever because people lie all the time about stuff. Oh, well, I didn't see the photos or this or that, whatever, you know, like it's just a normal thing. But I don't know really where the truth lies in all these files. I don't believe that pictures were out a year ago. It wouldn't make sense when you think about it, because of the fact they would have made it around to the creators. They would have, because that's how they work. You know, they send it to somebody like, you know, don't share this with the person. Then the person shares it. You know, to be honest with you, I don't know their creator that probably hasn't done that, including myself. You know, it's just like,
to be honest, like, I mean, it's been so long. It's been almost 7 years now. So a lot of people are, I say, newer to the case, and by newer, I mean still been around a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. But even though they've been around 2 or 3 years, they don't necessarily remember all those rumors from the very beginning. So to them, they're like revelations that, oh my gosh. But like, we've heard all this before. Most of that stuff,
most of it,
the first time we've heard most of it.
Like, it's kind of like Brandon Woodhouse's stuff. Like, dude, what you're showing us is crap that's already been out there. But that F, and Deb was right. Like, it was said that it was a K, a carved K on the tree, and something about the similar thing carved on her, breast or something like that. And then next thing you know, it turned into a freaking F. And then there was that gold thing. That one kind of threw me off.
That's what I was talking about. That I said it looked like it was carved. It was like almost metallic in a way.
You know what it looked like to me? It was metallic, but it didn't remind me of that it was carved. It reminded me of someone using I can't think of what kind of font, because I have it on one of my programs where it can make it look like that metallic. And so it reminded me of almost like a placement, because honestly, I could make something look like that. And that's why that one threw me off. I'm like, well, this is like an F and it's like a gold leafed thing almost, And I remember going, oh, the program I have can make that, like make it look like that. So I was confused about that. But most of the crap he was showing was, well, I mean, it was, he crossing out the face on some, and other parts he's showing Mark Roberts' conversation, and he's putting all those little color things in there and scribbles over the map drive, and stuff like that. And then, like I said, I mean, Criminality had it on her channel where she had the whole map drive. I was sent them as well. A lot of people have those. I mean, if you guys didn't take screenies, then, maybe perhaps go back and take screenies.
Better screenshots. There's a couple that the cut off like half the word at the top or the bottom of most of them. I don't really care what's there, but there's a couple that I'm like, oh, I wish I could see what the line above that was.
Yeah. Okay. So now this is kind of where I want to get on to the point of this. So I'm going to start this off because this pissed me off recently. David,
what was our homework so I can think about it? I forgot about it. What was the homework that we were supposed to do?
The homework was simply this. It was simply basically to tell me three things, and chat as well. 3 things that really, like, in the people that have followed Delphi, what things kind of pissed you off the most of what people posted about Abby and Libby. And then, more truthful facts. But and then basically a thing about why you're basically, what makes you smile when you think of Abby and Libby. Like, what is it that, for me, for Abby and Libby, It's all the image that always enters my head is Libby and that video that she did, and the purpose of why I'm even doing this. It's because they left that. They need the justice. But I want to start off with this. Why? Okay, so why did David Erskine say now that we know? And True Crime Design, like I said, has her depiction of the picture of Abby and Libby in, like, I don't want to say cartoon because it's not cartoon. What would you want to call it? In watercolor imagery of the photo. Why did David Erskine say that Abby had on the same clothes that she had on the bridge? And even when I verified it with him, he gave me a thumbs up, and yet she didn't. She had on her shirt, but she had on the black swimming Delphi thing. So I don't understand. Like that, like, dude, you were there at the crime scene.
I actually
So-
think the fact that he thumbs upped it after you like confirmed it afterwards to you is a good sign of like telling the truth wise.
Well, what do you mean?
Because I think, and this is coming from a I don't know if everybody in the chat knows, but I work in the mental health field. Like trauma, well, for one, eyewitnesses in general just are shitty. And then put trauma on top of that. It makes me feel better about whether he's telling the truth or not, that he misremembered that, but that's how he thinks it was. Because if you were being dishonest, you'd say no and fix it.
Yeah, but he said that right at the start in those leaked texts. And you're right, it could very well be that. It seems strange because there's a whole difference between gray and black, like, but, it could be plausible that that's the way he remembered it. But then again, they had pictures. Like I said, Chris Todd got the pictures from David Erskine. We know this. This isn't new news. That's old news.
But how would that help him know what she was wearing?
Because he has pictures.
Of what? The crime scene?
Of course they would. Of course.
No, I thought we just talked about that. I thought,
Well,
no, he
hold
has
on a second.
those pictures.
You think that they don't have pictures? That they took only pictures of the clothes and that was it?
I don't think he took pictures of the bodies, no.
Well, okay, maybe not him, but I cannot see taking those pictures. But you know what? That would be a speculation on my part.
Can you really see a family member seeing clothes in the creek and taking a picture and then taking a picture of their family member like dead, murdered viciously on the ground? Those are two totally different things. Maybe a bystander, but I can't imagine a family member doing that.
I could, but that's just me. Because what people do with their cameras nowadays, nothing phases me.
We won't ever.
That would be speculation. That would be speculation on that.
But I do know at the time that Chris Todd did specifically say when he was passing around those clothes pictures, I don't have pictures of the bodies, but I put out a request for them.
Okay.
Right. And trust me when I say, I know personally of 2 people that he messaged privately, repeatedly, asking, "Do you want crime scene photos? Do you want crime scene photos?"
I didn't believe him.
He was trying to hawk them around.
Yeah,
but
they were the creek pictures. That's how Gavin Fisher got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't believe for one second.
I emailed him and he never got back to me because I wanted files.
Right, because I had them very early on in the original form with high def without any watermark on them because I knew where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
Ivy, and this is just my own personal thoughts. When I watched,
we're talking about the clothes in the creek. Sorry.
Well, right. When I watched Chris Todd, and I went back to that live on Snay, and I saw Jason Jansen jump in the minute he started talking about those. For me, I got the vibe myself, my own self, that he has more than what he was saying. And that Jason Jensen, to me, covered his butt a little bit and said, well, crime scene photos would be considered CP. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, well, I've asked for them. You know, just so you know, I've asked for them. Let me just put it this way. This is my own personal opinion. I just think he was full of shit. I think he has more than what he's saying. But that's my own personal opinion, because I was looking at the conversation and the body language, and you got liars all the way around. You don't know who to believe, because everyone's just bullshitting, you know, in a sense, you know, when it comes to stuff like that, you know. But he was really insistent, and then he's sitting there scrolling through his pictures, and then he ends up sending, you know, showing kind of like the shoe.
Oh my gosh, watching that court TV guy was hilarious to me when he was trying to do that.
And Vinny was like, okay, well, we're going to go to commercial.
Yes.
Yeah,
Please don't show it, please.
Well, Chris Todd, I mean, that was actually quite comical a little bit, because Chris Todd is like, well, I know, I'm just here to talk about the crime scene photos or something like that, or show him, like, and you could tell he was kind of miffed a bit, because it was like I thought to myself, yep, that's the Chris Todd I had a conversation with, you know. Basically, if you did not believe it was Ron Logan, you were pretty much a loony bin.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what he said to me. And I'm just like, and I knew that our conversation was going nowhere fast, because he's that person that literally says, you know, that whatever he says, he's right. And anyone else that has a thought or idea, they're wrong, because he knows it all. Right. Ron Logan, and stuff like that. So his personality is very kind of straightforward. And that's what I saw on court TV that day. It's like you'd see he got pissed off, because he's like, well, you don't want to show the photos that I gave you, type of thing. And I'm just like, yeah, good call, Vinny, you know. But anyways, so that was one thing that kind of was bugging me, because I'm like, but Ivy, you could be possibly right. And that could be simply the way that David Erskine remembered it. You know,
I mean, we're both speculating, so who really knows?
Right. I think
on
that,
that part, correct.
Point, sorry, Sonny.
No, go ahead. What'd you say?
I was just saying, I think that's a good point to bring up, Ivy, because, you know, we don't know, but that is, you know, a very plausible, you know, possibility.
Maybe the cursor pick was taken off. Okay, so what is it that pissed you guys off of things that have come out, that, you know, like, for instance, about Libby being pregnant? It's just really your own thoughts, you know, about what you heard or somebody say, that you're just like, you loony bin, you know, or it pissed you off, that, you know, like, we can take two
first.
Hey, say it again.
I'll let them go first.
All right. Charmaine, do you want to go?
There. I wouldn't think this would be hard.
I don't really have very many. I'm a sponge. I take everything in, and it slowly seeps out, and kind of the garbage weeds itself out. But I mean, obviously, Zilla, I'm with you with the family blaming was absolutely disgusting in the beginning.
Still is.
It still is, absolutely.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
But the thing that pissed me off the most was, honestly, it was Greeno, when we found out that he completely made that dog walker story up.
That was going to be mine.
That actually really, really ticked me off, because honestly, you're just and he's got these documentaries, and he's taken so much time to recreate the scene and do these scenarios and stuff, and like, people watch that, and that's my biggest gripe when you have a platform like that and you're making shit up, like completely making it up.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it to this day.
Yeah, it's unconscionable. I cannot believe that somebody, well, now knowing what he's all about, but back then when I found out, I was like, why? What good could come of that?
Selfish reasons.
And unbelievable.
Like, you know, no different than Joseph Morris propagating that fake narrative towards Idaho. People making up stuff to do with Delphi so that they can get clicks and views. And you know, with him, that, you know, like, there's a lot of people just suck up what he says and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly.
Like, it's a money thing. But
Right.
we're not gonna get into Greeno stuff because I mean he can do whatever he wants on his channel, and you all know that you guys all go watch. Most of you guys go watch him anyway because there's always 400 people in Rick Snae's and Greeno's chat. So it just shows you how much people like the dirt, the grime, of the case in a sense. But that's up to every individual, whoever wants to go watch. But it saddens me. It saddens me that people, instead of hearing more truth and fact, they want to hear dirt and bullshit and deal with drama and stuff like that. That saddens me because it just tells me and shows me what people are like and what they want to watch, you know? And obviously, it's kind of like I said, each to their own. I'm not into, false narratives, misleading stuff like that, to do with Abby and Libby. Just want the truth. Just want to know what happened to them, why those poor innocent girls were killed that day. Not here to twist and turn things, but each to their own on their channels and, whoever somebody watches and whatever. Like, it's their thing. That whole, once somebody shows that they've lied, like Greeno did, with that, like I said, you lost the trust. Like, dude,
But people still watch him, and it blows my mind.
That's what I'm saying. I do not watch these lives. Someone usually has sent me a link, and the odd time I'm like, let me go humor myself for a second. And then I'm like, really? Freaking 400 people in there? Like, seriously? We can barely get 100 telling the truth, and yet you got 400 people in there, But hey, if that's what people want to watch and hear, all the power to them. I'm just not. I like to stay like within the facts of the stuff, not sit there and like, ooh, I got all these secret documents, and well, let me just add a little bit of twists and turns along the way. Yeah, not my thing, personally. But hey, that's all I'm going to say about that part right there. That's I think we've uttered his name enough, to be honest with you. So most people are talking about the pregnancy thing, Robert Lindsay's thing. Okay, so Ivy, did you think of anything yet?
Well, mine would be the dog walking lady, and then before that was the pregnancy thing. Even though we'll be done with him after this, I'll add on to the dog walking lady the flannel shirt guy thing, because not only was that a lie, there was a claim that there was a video of flannel shirt guy saying that he saw bridge guy. And not only was it say the lying part, but he said that he saw him at a specific time, so it made a timeline where people, I think it was 2:47 p.m., where everybody thought the truth was, well, not everybody, but a good chunk of the people thought that bridge guy was still on the trail at 2:47 walking out.
Right.
So that it ruins a lot of things. And I know the public are not going to solve anything, but then let's say somebody saw something weird and they've been having it in the back of their head at, I don't know, 2:45, this is just an example, then maybe they wouldn't tip that in because they're like, oh no, well, somebody saw him at 2:47 on the trail.
Right. That's the thing, and that's
what
do you say?
That's really, yeah, Adam. He said, go ahead, Adam. He said,
I said, or 3:57.
Or 3:57, right? And it's too bad. It's too bad, and this has happened in a lot of cases, that especially for newcomers. But again, to me, it's up to every individual to do their own homework. If they're interested in Delphi case, yes, lives can give people that aren't into doing that maybe a thought, but it's too bad that all the diarrhea has to follow along. Kind of reminds me of the Idaho tape, right? For people that are newer to the Idaho or have no clue that that was a false tape, are still propagating that tape as if it was real. And that's kind of like with the dog walking and stuff like that, because a lot of people based all that, to be truth and stuff like that. And it really hurts the case.
It does.
Absolutely. And you're correct. There's not one of us here that's going to solve this case, to be honest. We might be able to find out certain answers, but honestly, like I said, as for Richard Allen, no one here could sit there and tell you why, if he is found guilty, why he did it, unless it comes out in court, why he did it. Like, was it some perverse fantasy that he perhaps had? Was it
We'll
not?
never find out.
No, well, unless it comes out in the courts, But I mean, it would be nice to wonder.
Never know the truth, right?
What'd
Yeah,
you say?
motive is one of those things. There's no real evidence for it.
Can
I do my second one before?
Yeah.
I agree.
So I don't. Nobody steals my second one. People saying, "What were you gonna say something?" Aspen.
No, I was gonna say, Daisy, I agree 100%.
Hopefully.
Go ahead, Ivy.
People seeing people under the bridge. People seeing people under the bridge. People seeing cars under the bridge. People seeing dolls hanging from the trees in the bridge photo. Puppies on the bridge. Things in the bridge picture, I guess. Yours is a little bit, even though I disagree with you, yours is a little bit different. What are you guys laughing at?
Because you remind me.
I forgot all about the people under the bridge.
Oh, well, then you started laughing, and I'm like, wait, is there something in the chat?
No, I'm sorry.
I disagree.
I completely forgot about the people under the
And there's
bridge.
people who still say it.
Ivy, there was a picture I got that somebody sent me, which looked like this little Chinese, those Chinese hats?
Yes.
Like this little dwarf about
Where?
3 foot tall in the grass, in the trees, and they're like, like this is a person, and I'm like, are you us?
It's always in a spot where they'd be like levitating 10 feet in the air.
And it wasn't like 1 or 2 people. Some people, there were 37 people under the bridge.
Right.
I'm like, where was all this overflow parking for the bridge that day?
They said there was did you hear about the car? They're like, look, you can see the light, the rear tail light or whatever.
Oh,
like,
on like down at the crime scene, there was like a car. They said, yeah. One of my favorite. I will say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you go ahead, because now that the mind's turning, I said,
I'll say the one that I think is the funniest. So is my favorite theory has always been the jet ski theory. That, the BG came. That the BG came. That he came and went on a jet ski all week, and then the evidence that people would give to back it up was that Mike Patty was able to go down on a canoe. And so BG came and went on a jet ski.
And nobody saw him in February. Yeah.
Nobody saw him. No one heard him.
Crimezilla's still in the chat, but one of our inside jokes is the kayak. It was a kayak.
Yeah.
A kayak, a canoe,
as far as,
a jet ski. Yeah.
As far as the pregnancy thing, I think anyone that would want to know Sonny and my reaction to the pregnancy thing would just have to go back and watch the interview that we did with Robert Lindsay, where he tried so hard not to go down the crazy rabbit holes that he himself had propagated for years, but he couldn't quite help himself, and he immediately went down the pregnancy route, victim blaming, basically slut shaming. Anti-Semitism, homophobia. I mean, he ran the gamut on why there's so many horrible, disgusting rumors early on in his case, and a lot of them came from him and his page.
These are children. These are little girls.
He can't help himself.
He is a disgusting human being.
From victim blaming, and not just victim blaming. He attacks with a vitriol the dignity of these children, and it was disgusting enough that Sonny asked him to leave.
I don't think I've ever. I think that's the highest my blood pressure has ever been watching a live stream. Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Miranda Lee, I'm talking about Robert Lindsay.
You're talking about Robert Lindsay.
I will give, and then I'll give my other one really quickly. Oh my gosh! Wait.
Robert Lindsay, you're talking about.
Yeah, and then my other one was.
Sure. It's gonna come back to you.
Well, of course. Of course, the family blaming. But I have one. I can't think of it right now. Come back to me. The jet
Charmaine,
threw me off.
well, I want to add one to yours because there was somebody in this chat that used to come in this chat, and he would like constantly message me with these pictures. He was so certain that there was a pickup
God.
truck at the crime scene that was dumping the girls. Okay, dude, like to think that someone's mind actually believes that there's this truck that's sitting there, it was the most craziest thing. So when you were talking about that, Adam, at the crime scene, yeah, like I said,
Where would
it's
you
like,
turn around to get out?
where
Even
do
if
you
you
have
could take down there,
brain
where do you
cell?
turn around?
It's just stuff like that, or that the video is fake, that
Right.
that
Or
they
that
put
they were never even
it,
there.
That was going to be one of
Yeah, they were
mine.
never even there.
you know.
It's like at that
They were
point,
killed
why are you
themselves.
even like following the case if you don't even think they were there?
There's all type of people that make up this world, and those ones, like I said, they need their own special island, to be honest with you. Anyways, Charmaine, and exactly, like Abby and Libby and people, and there's so many channels that have taken it so far, absolutely horrendous, victim blaming the families constantly all the time, it's not like, it's like soulless, so
Can I tell you my
soulless.
favorite new one?
What?
My favorite new outlandish thing that makes zero sense and is not true is that that Alex Voorhees is being forced to hack for the prosecution. I think I'm getting that right.
Yes, you are. I almost fell over when I read that. I think
And I talk to Alex all the time. I can unequivocally say it's not true, and it's ridiculous. But I mean, people are out there thinking that Alex Voorhees is being forced to be this military grade hacker for the prosecution.
Give somebody a drop and it becomes like
He's in Deb's basement, locked in there with
I
a
think so.
computer, nothing
Right.
else.
Yeah, I like what Crimezilla said here. Crimezilla said at Ivy, and then the Rose. Thank you. The last 6 years and knowing you, and the sleepless nights by researching, even getting me through the hurricanes. This case is sad, but look at the friendships we made. And I can't say that enough, Crimezilla, because me and Aspen have met, Adam, Charmaine, Ivy, great people in chat and stuff like that.
Crimezilla.
Absolutely. Great sentence. And
Daisy.
yeah. And like I said, like the far-fetched people, they might stop by here, but they usually go to the more absurd, ways of thinking. I like to say, like I said, on this planet, and follow, follow the trails that sound legit, sound like they
Right.
have sound like they're common sense. Okay, this could be possible and plausible, like it's kind of like, is it plausible that somebody might have files? Plausible. Do I know for a fact? No. So it really just sits in the corner, and I decide myself which rabbit holes I'm going to go down. Aspen decides what he's going to go. Charmaine, Ivy decide what rabbit holes that they interest them, type of thing. Deb, same thing. And then, like I said, I'm kind of glad it's that way, because there's some things that, I don't think to look at myself because it's not more interesting to me, that rabbit hole, whereas some other people it is. And then they come back with their information. I have mine. Deb has his. Remember the ski mask one? The ski mask one keeps coming in my head, Adam. It's like we were both looking at it, but you were specifically, that one always bugged me, but you were specifically going down that rabbit hole.
That's probably the biggest rabbit hole I ever have gone down in this case, was the sleepover ski mask incident.
Do you think it happened?
If you were to say now, do you believe that there was a DELPHI like that happened?
I'm not going. I don't. I've never seen any evidence of it. I'm not going to accuse a 14-year-old girl of lying. But I've never seen any evidence to support that particular ski mask incident happened. And maybe, you know, maybe the claim was never made. Maybe it was part of the interrogation tactic that they used with Kagan Klein. But I mean, there are so many red herrings now looking back with Kagan Klein, and rabbit holes that people went down and continue to go down.
So that's a good question for both Charmaine and Ivy as well. You know, what was your biggest rabbit hole, or you know, that you dove down with this case?
Honestly,
Besides many.
the entire Kagan Klein thing, that whole thing changed my whole perspective on life, actually, if you want to be honest with you, because my entire life believed there's no such thing as coincidence. And that I firmly believe now that there are coincidences. And
that was going to be one of the things I said, because that drives me crazy when people say that.
I'm related, because even as something as innocent, and just hear me out here, and this isn't a conspiracy or anything like that, but if you know the 21 Pilots song Heathens that they were listening to on the way to the trail, and how things have kind of come, and the things that are coming out now, if you've listened to the lyrics of that song, it puts such a more macabre spin on them listening to that song going there. And that to me is a crazy coincidence. Kagan Klein is a crazy coincidence. The River Search, Ski Mask Girl, I was down that rabbit hole, but they're all coincident. They all could have happened just the way they said, but has nothing to do with Abby and Libby.
And you know, and could some of those events could have been in an attempt to link him to Delphi? You know, I mean, I think that, you know, the River Search was absolutely in an attempt to link Kevin Klein to
a police officer said it did, a source.
You know, and I've seen no evidence that it, you know, is directly linked to Richard Allen yet either. So
I think they thought it was.
Granted, I doubt, you know, ISP's going to come out and be like, "Oops, we made millions and millions of dollar mistake by going down that rabbit hole." And we were told that what was found even. So,
but I don't think, Daisy, because there was, I think, and Adam would probably know better, but I think that Libby was actually talking to Anthony Schatz that day. So I don't know that he inserted himself. He would have been inserted anyways when the police found.
Was he actually talking to her that morning though?
Yeah.
Like, is that?
It's never been said conclusively.
They could be lying about it, Tim, right?
Well, I mean, they could, but I mean, the thing about that I always remember is that about the whole, you know, that Libby's friend, most of you guys should know who that is by now, had said, you know, have you heard what happened to Libby and Abby? But it was said that she was, that he had messaged her, because they were talking about the two phones, that had messaged her that morning. But the thing is that they never said in that interview thing that we shouldn't have seen, but seen, because Murder Sheet's got their hands on that. But anyways, it never said that they were supposed to meet that day. Like, there was nothing about meeting up that day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people and that's one of those things, like, that's truth. He never said anything about meeting that day. He said, oh, I was supposed to meet up with her. Or that was the girl or something that I was supposed to meet up with. But
Keegan Klein lies.
What?
Mm-hmm.
And Keegan Klein lies. So I mean, like, we don't know that, you know, there wasn't a message, you know, from Libby to Anthony Schatz saying, "Oh, we're going to go to the bridge," and he turned that into, "I was supposed to meet up with her and she didn't show up." I mean, I've seen the chirp with the red Jeep thing, so I know that was said to someone. We know that it was a lie now, but it was Keegan Klein lying. He did say it.
Sorry, Adam. I was looking at
I waited in the red Jeep.
Oh God, yeah, that was like
Keegan Klein said it.
Do you know if the marathon search is a lie, or did that happen, or do we even know the marathon search?
What search?
The marathon gas station, the Google search, whatever that Keegan supposedly did on the 13th.
Well,
I have no idea.
That came out the same, I think, the same time as the red Jeep story.
So we
From
have
what
the gas. Yeah. The
That's
well,
not the first of that story, though. About
but
maybe not the Google search, but about them doing the. This is different than what you're talking about. The video from the gas station that originally I think was about Maxwell, the Maxwell dad. I can't think of his name, but you're talking about something different, though. I think
yeah,
you're talking about like the Google search to find the gas station.
there was the Google search just gas station. He changed his frigging Facebook that he was in Las
That's
Vegas
weird.
on that day. Like, meaning there was so many things that made sense to his involvement. Now, I don't know for me personally, um, like you said, was it everything that pointed to it, but really it happened to collide, but really had nothing to do with it? Well, from what we're seeing, in my head, I think this Ali has shown that they are incompetent and sloppy in a lot of this case. We have clearly seen that. So, do I think that Kagan Klein is involved or not involved? I still don't honestly really know what the attachment is there. Is there one? Is there an attachment to Richard Allen, to Tony Klein, anything like that? I don't know. Because that's something that it's up to Ali to show that there is, and that was a huge rabbit hole, and big in a sense letdown because they're doing this search. You got Kagan Klein, like I said, texting Libby, and he's like, oh, like, oh, I remember kind of that annoying one, you mean, type of thing, and he's like, I remember talking to a friend, and I don't. It's like I said, it just makes your head go mush. The ski mask incident, right? They talk about a ski mask incident, and yet 2 ski mask incidents happened back in 2010, right beside the Kleins. So that
Yeah.
how do you not think that that's a possible connection as well, considering the way they found Kagan Klein was because of this so-called ski mask incident that Libby's friend, the one that said, hey, did you hear what happened, whatever, that got off the bus, and then reported it, and then through that they found the Anthony Shots account. It's
Right.
just a mind messes is what
And
it is.
And some people still think there's a connection. And if there is, I will.
I've laid it to the side. Yeah.
Except until I see proof. I mean, I'm open to anything. Of course, I always have said that. I personally at this point don't believe there's any second perpetrator involved, other than the BG. And if that's Richard Allen, then it's Richard Allen. If it's not, then it's not. But if there's a second party involved,
Yes, Gail.
I'm open to it. And of course, if there's evidence to point towards it, absolutely. But there are people that are still 100%, believe that that the Kleins or
It's a hard one to let go of, right?
Because
What do
there's
you think?
Ray still thinks that Kagan, not the dad so much, but that Kagan is involved.
and I've seen some compelling things that that there's no evidence to back up that I've seen, but it would make sense if you're telling a story, so I'm confident that this was one person, but if it turns out to be more, it won't be the last. It won't be the first time I'm wrong. It won't be the last time.
I mean, honestly, like I said, remember what the title of this live is, guys: truth, lies, rumors,
Right.
stories, and whatever.
And I respect anyone that has a different, if someone has a theory or someone has an idea of something, and they even have stuff that they feel backs it up.
Yeah,
I'm all for hearing other people. I never shoot someone down. I mean, unless you tell me something like Libby was photoshopped onto the bridge, or Abby was photoshopped onto the bridge.
There's another one too who totally well respected, and I mean I thought the world of him. And what are you doing? Why are you doing this? We know that's not Photoshop. We know that. Do you know what I mean? Like just taking something to get views and running with it. And so many people went with it.
Oh, yeah.
I can't
When
believe
it's done for that
Copbacks
reason.
lowered himself to that.
I can't believe it. It's like, why? Why are you doing
I think
this?
he believes it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that because, like, again, each to their own. It did throw me off for sure. Lost a lot of credibility in my eyes. Huh, is that a pun that I just did right there? But yeah, not.
And remember, apparently, law enforcement has said Kegan Klein wasn't involved, and they said Ron Logan wasn't involved. So
Well,
I've never bought the Ron Logan thing. That's one of those
Never
paths.
never either.
I know everything about it,
exactly.
but I never went down it
Yeah.
because
Uh.
it never made sense to me. I never, even from looking at the BG video, did I ever once go, that's Ron Logan. Never once in my life.
And his voice sounds nothing like that voice. Nothing.
Well, I was going to say with Ron Logan, for me, I remember when that channel came out with that video of the static, basically, and basically saying like this is Ron Logan, like look at the freaking arms, head. Do you remember that one? Whatever channel that was back
so
a long time ago. So that's when I first kind of came into the case, and I remember seeing this thing, and I went down the wrong. Okay, so for the actual BG, I went down that rabbit hole all of less than a day, type of thing. But did I think that there was something more to him? Perhaps, yes. But then again, at that
He was hiding
time,
something.
right, and it was because of the false alibi, and so I never could exclude him or include him. He was always off to the side, like I said, off to the side for me. To this day, but then I heard the I think it was Mrs. F. Wonderful or whatever. And then I remember that video that I saw with them talking to Ron Logan, and I could hear it in his voice that I felt like truth was there. Like, when somebody speaks and how his voice was kind of cracking as he's like, like my son would play down there. And I just felt truth when he was saying that. But yet I still couldn't understand about the lying part and
Right.
Garrett Kurtz,
Right.
knowing the land, working on the land and stuff like that. So
Right.
one second, let's just see what a couple people are saying here. Ivy, the question about if he Google searched the gas station and how long the DNA, yeah, right, when he
Weird.
Google searched. And I'm with Aspen. I don't believe wrong. No, he's definitely not the BG. That's for sure. There's nothing about a 6'2" person and whatever. I mean, I'm still kind of confused on the whole thing because there was a math equation that was done by the school that deemed the BG as 6 foot tall. So that throws me off because there was the
Sonny, can you go find that professor?
What school was it?
you know what? This was a long time ago now. This person had sent it to me, and she's the one that actually told me about it. And I remember that, I remember that being said, and like the whole equation was there by these math students. The teacher got the math students to calculate. I couldn't tell you the school. Can't this is like a long time ago now. To calculate it, the whole calculation was there. And then it ended up being that he was 6'10" and a half. No, 6'10" and a half. 6'10.6 point.
You
What
mean
was it?
5'10"? 5'10" and a half?
Sorry, 5'10.5. Thank you.
He was 7 foot tall.
You know
I know.
what's crazy though is I watched Gray do this. This was years ago. He
Great.
did that thing.
Good
He
for him.
measured the planks or whatever you want to call them in the bridge, and he used his little program, his I forget what it's called, where he models everything. He used that to calculate it, and he came up with 5'4" or 5'5", and he's like, "There's no way, that's too short," and he couldn't figure out what he did wrong. So when this came out, I was like, "Holy shit!"
He did a good job. He did a good job stabilizing that video as well.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I always give credit where credit's due, and he did do a good job with those two things.
Who's this we're speaking of?
It was great. That was Gray Hughes.
Yeah, I was saying he calculated. I watched him one night do the calculations from the Google thing, taking the length of the bridge stuff, and he came up with 5'4" or 5'5", and was like, "That's too short." So he decided it was wrong.
Mm.
Hey, Heather.
I want to move on to that too. The last thing that I want to really talk about a little bit is.
Can I bring up that Heather just mentioned this, and it has to
Hey,
do with the
Heather.
rumor. So this was another big rumor that's always been in the case, and we've always heard that there was some sort of oven cleaner, or some people said there was orange cleaner, which goes into the Ron Logan theory. Was there cleaner poured over the crime scene? There's nothing in any official document about it. If there was, there's not one word of it. There's not one word of anything in an official document talking about it.
Adam, who was it that was talking about this recently, about the knife that was left at the crime scene? Do you remember who was talking about that recently?
This was it. The one, I can't remember who it was, but they said there was a knife left, but it wasn't the knife that like killed them. And
Was it Skip?
Like, huh?
Was it Skip?
Maybe.
I
think so. Yeah.
I think they were talking about
criminality.
rumors. Yeah, I think that was from. I think it was Skip talking about rumors. And I don't know. They were talking about the crime scene or things like that.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't come across like it was a rumor. And again, we have to go to probably Mark Roberts. I think it goes back to Mark Roberts again, if there's truth to that or not, because that was the whole thing. Was a conversation.
There was a rumor before that a knife was found at Ron's in one of his like buildings or something like that.
Right. Well, there's a rumor that Abby's necklace was found on Ron's property. That that Ron threw the clothes in the creek. So.
Poor Ron.
I mean, the speculation has.
One sec, too.
Yeah.
Palmer, how are you saying? Go ahead. Daisy.
I do one more rumor that drives me crazy.
We all just want to talk about things that drive us crazy now.
I know, it's so easy. It's not really a rumor necessarily. I guess it's more comments. When people, there's a few of them. When people say things like, "Why didn't they call 911? Why didn't they run?" I would never let my kid go out there.
That bothers me.
Oh my gosh, you don't know what you're talking about.
I would have been at that bridge every day if I was that age.
Yes, especially when you're from a small town. Like, that's just
right. Yeah, absolutely.
And when people talk about like, well, why they could have just made a run for it. One gun can control a whole group of adults.
Very fast.
What are you talking about? And if women, I know they're not women, they're teenage girls, but if girls and women ran, like just sprinted off anytime they were made uncomfortable by a man, we'd be running around all the time looking crazy. Right. Like, that's not.
And then throw in the factor, what if by the time they, and I'm speculating, but what if by the time they had the opportunity to even, or no one expects someone to pull a gun on them.
Exactly.
So I mean, what if by the time they even had the opportunity to try to make an escape, they didn't have their clothes? That's gonna throw a whole nother wrench into a factor of, do you run if you're naked and your best friend's there? It's like, right. I don't put any blame on any single action that the victims did at all.
No.
The only thing anyone did that day that was wrong, and someone said this in the chat, but the only person that did something wrong that day was the person that killed those girls.
Absolutely.
Gail said, let's see. She said there's nothing for teens to do there. Walking. That's like, if you grew up, I don't know where you grew up. Yeah. I grew up in a rural area. We used to go walking all the time, walking down roads, walking down trails, walking in the woods. Like, there's not shit to do. So you do stuff like that.
We used to ride our bikes over, like, in the gravel, like down gravel pits in like quarries, all sorts of like places you should not be probably as a kid. But that's where we always went to.
Everybody that was on that bridge was trespassing. Because I've heard people say, well, why was that thing open for people to get on? They weren't supposed to be on it, but everybody did.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, my town, Fox Creek, is the same size as Delphi. The exact same size. One drugstore, whatever. Yeah. And while we were recording our Delphi episode last year, actually, I found out for the first time that my daughter, who actually reminds me of Libby, but I found out that there's a bridge like that around here, and the kids used to go out to it for fun. And that's exactly what they used to do. They used to go walking on trails and just hiking and taking pictures and
But that-
selfies. Whatever. That's what you do in a small town.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a water, like I think it can be also equated to like I think a lot of towns have a water tower that kids will
Water
put up.
Yeah.
And I think there's really no difference, right? An old water tower that kids will climb that they're not supposed to, but they still do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kathy, she's just saying, Miranda, that's okay. Because, yeah, difference of opinion. But, yeah, no disrespect. I know on there. I was going to say, I wanted to say to that, Charmaine, Crystal Falls, I think it is. Is it? No, it's not Crystal Falls. There's one in the White Court somewhere area, too, that, it was a thing to do. Go down to the creek. There was a bridge over there that they would hang out. And I remember just seeing it once, and you go for the long trails. But I want to say the one thing that does make me sad about this is that, from my point of view, being a mom, if I knew about that bridge, there's no way in hell I would ever let my son, go across that bridge.
Yeah. I had no idea. And she said she took 3 steps and didn't. She took a selfie that made it look like she was on the bridge, she said, but she was too scared. And I told her, like, that kind of ticks me off that you went out there and I didn't know about it until you're 26 years old. I would have never allowed it, ever.
That's why you didn't know about it.
That's exactly why I didn't know about it. But again, just because her grandparents or whatever allowed it doesn't put any fault on them at all.
That's the thing, because Anna said the same thing. I would never have allowed her to go on that bridge, but doesn't mean Becky knew that. Wasn't think because Libby's been on it and stuff like that. That hurts me when I hear Anna say that, because as a mother, I would never ever allow Matthew to ever cross something like that. Now, in saying that, if he did it behind my back, I can't control that. But that bridge, never. So, they keep saying that Libby was more like fearless and stuff like that. And that part hurts me, just because Anna was like, I would never have allowed her to go on that bridge, but she did, and even if Abby, like, let's say Abby knew that her mom said no, you're never allowed to step foot on that bridge. Kids do things regardless of what their parents say. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, this all becomes down. Those poor girls just went to the bridge. Who would have expected that? Like, who would have expected in that small town that would even have occurred, right? And what pisses me off about that is when Tobe there was like, you remember on that interview when he's like basically saying, no, I don't think anyone has a reason to be worried, type of thing. They had no idea who the suspect was. So I thought that they
Was
must
that Tobe
have
or was that Kim Riley?
Oh, Kim Riley said it too. It was said twice. Kim Riley said it when he was sitting down and said, I think people are, like adult enough, basically old enough to know what they should be doing or what's, type of thing. But it was also said by Tobe when he was asked that question. And that to me pissed me off, because it really pissed me off, because as a parent, right? So if the police is saying to you that like, no need to be worried, type of thing. And then you realize that they have no clue who the BG even is. And to me, that is just like lying right to our faces.
Honey, they were just one piece away.
Yeah, one piece away. One piece away.
Saying.
Now,
piece. I just need to know who he is. That's the piece that we're missing. Is who?
Yeah, that's the piece that we're missing. I mean, and like I said, you guys know,
right?
We don't have to repeat all the different stuff with Delphi, but I do want to go off to to this point, because we're over 2 hours here now. I want to always which reminds me, and I'm not going to start this because I'm going to bring up the pictures by Miracle for Missing of Abby and Libby, because they're beautiful pictures. My last thing I really wanted to say was, what thing have you seen on social media that makes you mostly smile, that you've seen with Abby and Libby? whether it's a video, whether it's a picture, because again, you're here because you care about Abby and Libby more so than anything, more so than the drama, the rumors, this and that. You guys are here because you want answers for Abby and Libby. And this includes chat. What is it that you came across that kind of put that extra smile on your face to do with Abby and Libby? And then I'm just going to quickly grab those pictures.
Well, for me, it's definitely the Memorial Park website. If you go on there, it's a beautiful tribute. You can read some about the girls, but you get to see like an actual interactive map of the park and everything that they've done, and they've been able to build and turn
What they're
this
building.
into something really positive that gives back to kids that age. And now maybe instead of going out to the bridge, which I get it, that's not something that people are really doing anymore, but now they have a place to go and play and just be kids. And I think that is a huge accomplishment for them. And that always makes me smile. And I do visit that site quite often. I'd love to go there someday. So that's mine.
Ivy, do you have one?
Yeah, I have a couple, but they all kind of go back to the same thing, is seeing them in like pictures and videos where you can just picture them being preteen and, young teen girls. Like, I really like the picture where Libby's like, I think, sitting down, and Abby is standing up and has like one arm up. She's wearing like capris and a hoodie, I think. And then the
I know
picture
what you're talking about.
where
Is one on there when
where
they're in
they're
Washington,
pointing?
D.C.?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one where Libby has on those glow in the dark glasses things. And then
Yeah.
I kind of hesitate to say this, but I did really think it was like a bittersweet, like, it's so sad they're gone, but it shows their personality, is the video of those messages between them talking.
The what?
That video of like messages between them.
Oh yeah.
That, I don't know, something about that just like takes me back to my own
Yeah.
not childhood, but when you were that age.
Regular, everyday kids.
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah.
Or just being young teenage girls.
Yeah. I know for me, like the main thing is it's kind of double-sided because it's bittersweet, because unfortunately, without something horrific happening to these two girls, none of us, well, the majority of us, it wouldn't ever know who they were.
Yeah.
So there's so many things about their personalities and about their families and about who they were that I'm grateful to like have gotten to like see a part of, even though we don't deserve it. It's not ours. And I wish that we didn't know who they were, because it would mean they were alive and living their life.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the biggest things that that makes me smile about them is that, and I think this is important in everyone's life, is that I feel like Libby and Abby both were surrounded by really strong women in their lives, and that's a blessing. Like, I feel like you can't really get much of a stronger support system than Becky Patty, Carrie Timmons, Anna, even Tara German. I mean, these girls were surrounded by really strong women, and I think that's something that anyone would be lucky to have.
Yeah, and look what Kelsey. I mean, I can't
Kelsey,
imagine having to go through that at that age, but the way she's like matured and blossomed into a strong person. Yeah,
and I also like that silly video where Libby's sliding across the kitchen floor with Kelsey.
I love that one. That one, I can watch that one, like, hit it multiple times. That's a one.
To me, it kind of like what I think is her personality. It exudes that.
Yeah. I mean, when you start thinking about it, there's so many things, to be honest with you. When I think of Libby, I think of that video, like there's two. there's the one where she's, they're singing and whatever together. But I always remember the sliding one because every time I see it, Adam, I think, yep, that's her personality. And I can't help but always think of the in a minute. Becky and Mike have always said it, like Libby would always leave sticky notes. And that's why lots of times I'll include that in a video sometimes, in a tribute and stuff like that. So who's leaving? Somebody leaving?
Daisy, good night.
Good night, Daisy. Good night, Daisy. My phone is dying. Good night. That makes me smile. Let's see. With Abby, I don't, that picture on the bridge always comes to my mind because it's like she's just walking, kind of thing, hands in the pockets, and I don't know. It's just kind of like she's just looking down, doing their thing like they were going to do that day, walk across the bridge, just be girls having fun. I always think, the other picture that always comes into my head is when she's holding the baseball in her hand. And the other one, like Charmaine just said, I can't help but always think of the beautiful tribute to the girls for the baseball field that was made in their honor. That makes me really smile that people donated, have done so many things to help and stuff like that.
And the updates to that park are the ones that have both been completed and the ones that are being planned. I mean, it's really impressive.
Oh, yeah, it's I don't know.
That's another thing that makes me really mad.
The pictures of Abby and her grandpa always touch me as well.
I was gonna say, I mean, honestly, when you see almost anything, it always touches you.
Because she didn't, Abby's dad wasn't there, so the pictures with Abby and her grandpa always have stood out to me as special.
Oh, and the horse ride, that was, oh my gosh. I dare anybody to try to get through that without tearing up. Have you seen that video?
No, correct me if I'm wrong. Where is this memory coming from that I see those balloons, those Chinese balloons, lanterns?
That was on Abby's birthday in 2018, I think. I posted the video once, the whole thing.
Yeah, you did it. That's right. You posted it.
They did a balloon release at a vigil at nighttime back on the first anniversary, I think. And then on Abby's birthday, they did a lantern release. I think it was 2018. And they used all their colors, and I love that video. Yeah,
on there. And then Daisy had. I want to make sure that, even though I think she just left, where did her comment go? Oh, it's up there for me. Liberty getting a conviction by her quick thinking recording BG. That will be the one thing that propelled me to always stay with the case because of that. It's like your own personal mission that she did this. The girls need their justice. That's what we want to find out of all of this, out of anything. That's why, people arguing about if, this or that or whatever. In the scheme of things, it honestly doesn't really matter because the goal of it all is that these girls should have never have been murdered or killed, and they were, and you just want to know the truth and justice for the girls. The rest of it, to me, it doesn't. Personal knowledge, you kind of look down rabbit holes and stuff like that. You're trying to understand it yourself, what could have possibly the chain of events that day and stuff like that. But the end result is always at the end, justice for Abby and Libby. And these are beautiful pictures, by the way. Again, from Miracle for Missing. She's on Twitter there. Just gorgeous pictures that she does. Go ahead.
Something literally just popped into my mind, Sunny, and it's not related to this at all, so I apologize.
No, that's fine.
You asked me the other night to remind you to plug Joe Johnson's thing, and I forgot, and we never did.
Let me go to okay. You know what?
And I literally, for some reason, you're talking, and I'm like, Joe Johnson. He's not.
Thank you so much. Is he in here? Is he in here?
No,
Because I said to Joe Johnson after I got off the live, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I totally
no,
forgot.
he's not
And I
in here.
said,
But for some reason, something you said made that pop into my mind.
thank you, because I said I'll do it the next live, which is today. But I just wanna, so we'll leave Abby and Libby and this live at that. I just wanted to show you something that I was talking about earlier, some like in the other live. So let me just take down this message. Well, it doesn't matter. And so this is what I was talking about. Whenever somebody makes a donation to the channel up until the end of this month, because it will be like, I'll call it phase 1 in a sense. So I'll have to stop the screen there. So this is what I was thinking about doing. Well, it's not that I'm thinking about doing. I will do it. Let me just oh, sorry. I have to hit file, not. So I'm just going to give you a quick little kind of sample what was going through my head.
Yeah. And
This
Ann,
is it
Ann,
here.
thank you very much, Ann. That's really sweet.
I gotta get Joe Johnson's thing. This is a very rough draft, people. It was just in a sample. So that's basically it. Like, meaning I just want to give you a sample. Whenever somebody does make a donation for this video, it will go to the end of the month. And so this is like, because you guys know I love dealing with Christmas, and I want to, Adam, you got me all selfish again. We want to, thank you for always the support and love of the channel. But I personally want to make a special Christmas video, to put the people's, super chats or whatever. If they buy a coffee, I'll stick you on a cup of coffee. No, I'll probably stick you on a present or something like that, or an ornament. But I wanted, so up until that time, and then after that time, I will create the actual video as a thank you to all those people. And it's just a thing that I want to do, like to do, just to say, hey, thank you guys. Okay. So from this point on till the end of November is when this thing will run, and then I'll have to create the video after that. But anyways, so that was that. And then I'm just going to quickly grab Joe Johnson. 1 second. Thank you for reminding me, Adam, because I would have felt totally shitty times too.
I would just like to know why that popped into my mind at that exact moment.
Well, because I know I asked you to remember.
Like,
yeah, I know I have it, but I'm just going to quickly download it again so I could bring it in. I'm going to have to, come on, close off. And I'm going to have to share screen. I haven't brought it into the thing yet, but I'll grab it. Okay, you people, this is for Indiana. Okay, now Joe, he does, I think it's the Erskine family that asks him. He always plays at a certain event for the girls that he does. I can't think of what the bar is.
Kathy, thank you so much.
What did Kathy say?
$20 super sticker. That's so sweet, okay. Kathy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. And so again, I just want to do a special Christmas thing. So thank you guys very much.
$20. Thank you.
I was playing with a thing that played a lot faster than what they were playing before.
I liked it.
On there. So thank you, Kathy.
That's really sweet. Thank you.
And thank you, Charmaine. And wait, somebody else did one. Steffa. Was it Steffa?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Steffa? Yeah. I did. Thank you. I remember that. I was probably too busy bugging her about being the tree specialist or something. But anyways, so just quickly, the Whiskey Brothers, Joe Johnson and Marvin Parrish, November 17th. Ooh, that's tomorrow, guys. My bad. Tomorrow, November 17th at 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. The Kickstand Bar and Grill, 81 North Washington Street in Danville, Indiana. So if anyone can share this, well, I guess I can't really share unless I screenshot it. screenshot it and share it for anyone that lives over in that area or around that area. Anyways, so Joe Johnson, thank you for Adam to remind me again, or I might have forgotten. I'm not going to lie. Because he used to send them to me and I wouldn't remember, but we're getting old, right? And we forget things. Yeah. And so anyways, so
we're very
November
busy
7th
reading Supreme Court motions and filings.
on there. Yeah. So, you know,
It's like
this
a
one
daily
time,
thing every day, it seems like.
what'd you say?
So it's like a daily thing. Like every day there's a new filing almost.
Oh, Ivy,
Pretty
you
much.
don't even understand the nervousness I get sometimes, like when I'm getting ready to open my messages or my messenger or my email. I'm like, okay, do I potentially have an hour?
I know. To be honest with you, I can hardly wait till we get past all this brain work.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting there reading that one today, the brief, and it's like all these words that I don't say every day, and you're like, you know, like there's just these long words constantly as you're reading it. And
I do love them. I do love those documents, but
well, I like certain ones, but some of them work.
it's a lot of energy to put into something. So
I feel like my brain isn't working in other parts of the day as well. I mean, it doesn't work that well all the time anyway, but I feel more like foggy other times of the day, like day to day to day. It is a lot.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling this morning when I was reading that stuff. I was like even to right now, I feel really like foggy in the head for multiple reasons. But anyways, you guys. So we'll do our last thoughts and get off here. And thank you guys for joining the live. Thank you again to the super chatters. And again, we'll make a nice Christmas video. And don't forget, when come Christmas time, you know, we'll be doing a live. And you know, I know Alexa's like, I like it when we do the Christmas lives and stuff like that. So I'm
with Gail.
Lies.
Gail,
okay.
Gail and I are not getting old, so.
So,
oh wait, no,
Charmaine.
Gail said I'm there. Damn.
Oh, I'm not getting old. I'm there. That's yeah. So you agree with her? Okay. Okay. So Charmaine, start with you. Any just final last thoughts before we get off?
I guess. Besides what?
Besides the fact that you're so tired.
Oh, I'm so exhausted. But when I think of this case and every time I'm reading something, Becky always comes to my mind. Like the woman, she just has my heart. She's an inspiration with, you know, going through cancer and doing everything that she's done. And honestly, also Anna, to being like true to herself. She's not as public, obviously, as the Patty. And
whose noise is that?
I think Adam's opening some
Adam, are you eating?
hickory sticks.
He's eating hickory sticks, isn't he?
Sorry. I didn't realize. I thought my mic was off. I'm sorry, Charmaine.
I was like, he's eating what Charmaine bought him, isn't he?
That's awesome.
So, yeah, go ahead. Finish up, Charmaine.
That's really it. I think about the moms and Carrie as well. And like I said earlier, Libby reminds me of my daughter when she was that age, and Becky being a grandma. I'm a bit grandma. I sympathize with them like beyond imagination. So thank you guys for letting me come on again and ramble.
Well, I was feeling really bad because I'm looking at your face and I can see how tired you are. And I'm like, I got to get going. We got to have to wrap it up because it's 2.5 hours anyway. But I was like, going, Charmaine, don't kill me for.
It's been all week at work. This never happens at work. And just all of a sudden, everything just started happening.
It's because I said it to you like hire me to do nothing. I'll do it. Great.
I don't chat all day. Yeah, no. This week has been a different monster altogether. So
altogether. Okay. Well, thank you. Ivy. Adam's too busy eating over there. So Ivy.
I guess my last thoughts are, even though most of us don't agree, on the exact same thing for everything, we have differences in what we believe. But for the most part, I think we all just want to have justice for the girls and to get this over with and not make it into a big show. I think we can all agree on that and hope for it to be straightforward by the book from here on.
I don't know. like how that can happen. I feel so bad
We're
for the
wishing.
times they're on right now and how they're gonna fix it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Adam, you good? Chip in your mouth? You good?
I'm good. I'm so sorry. I thought my mic was muted. I was like digging chip up that.
Not for sure hickory sticks, but ketchup chips.
I was thinking the same thing, Charmaine.
Charmaine, the hickory sticks are gone.
Oh my god.
Oh, they're gone. Don't think you're
Anyway.
getting any for Christmas.
My last words are, I agree with what both of you said. I think that justice for Libby and Abby, of course, is it sounds redundant and it sounds kind of like cliche to say, but it is everyone's goal at the end of the day. I think that one thing that's important when you're watching videos or you're getting information from people, there are people that their entire existence on YouTube or Reddit or whatever is solely to do with Delphi. And if that existence, if Delphi goes away, their existence on those platforms doesn't have any meaning. And it's important to think about that, and I even for viewers, think of how much time and energy all of us have put into this case and have spent covering this case. And I understand that if all of a sudden this case is wrapped up and gone, where does that identity go? And I think that's something we're going to see more and more with true crime, especially in cases that people get so absorbed in, like Delphi, because of it's so compelling. But one, I think it's important to keep in mind that if you're watching channels or you're getting information from people that have a self-serving reason to keep a story going, just think for yourself and just really know what you're listening to or what or what information you're getting. And two, I know how much time I put into Delphi, and I know how much time you all spend watching Delphi. So I think it's important to also think about where you want to spend that type of time once Delphi's not there, because that time will come.
They'll come here, obviously.
But do you think these channels are going to just?
But part of why people, I think there's a psychological aspect, and I'm not a professional, but I think there's a psychological aspect in that makes some people want to cling on to different anytime a new theory or idea comes out, because it's been so ingrained in so many of us for so long now that to not have that leaves a void of some sort. And that's weird because it's a true crime case, so it's like it's a very weird dichotomy, but
It's almost like
I think there's something
relationship, but with the case and not a person.
Yeah.
Right. Think of other things in your life that you spend this many hours, watching.
Focusing on.
There aren't many.
I don't snore.
Is that why my house is dirty and I'm behind on work stuff? And
I know. I'm a buzzkill. Sorry.
I was gonna say, good thing I'm wrapping it up. No, just kidding.
That snoring comment wasn't directed at you, Adam. Like somebody said in chat. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I did not mean I was snoring because of you. It's not.
I'm just gonna. I don't really want to add to it, but I will just for the sake of it. I legitly, like I said, each to their own what they do. I prefer to be wise about anything that I look at anymore. Like before Richard Allen was arrested, I get it, absolutely. But now that he's been arrested and stuff like that, I'm really just trying to let the process for Abby and Libby happen. And I'm very sad with how it's going and transpiring, because the only thing I can think of in my head is how much the hurt and the pain of the families to have to go through this. And it's almost become such a circus act in a sense. And it's because I'm not thinking as a lawyer, I'm thinking as a person, as a human being that just literally thinks about how they must be feeling, you know, taking away from, you know, what's going on. Because obviously in the court of law, the process happens and these things happen. I didn't necessarily expect this whole twist and turn of events for the whole. I didn't expect, like, I mean, I heard that they were going down the Odinism line prior to them dropping it, but I wasn't expecting to read what I read, in a sense. And I just feel horrible for the families first and foremost. But the main reason why we're here, at the end of the day, is for Abby and Libby. I choose to let the garbage stay where it belongs, in a sense. And if people want to go down these rabbit holes, albeit go right ahead. You know, enjoy to your life's content and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I still know that regardless of what people do and say, well, besides maybe some, that Abby and Libby is the main focus of what happened and whatever. And the speculations and all the different things aren't going to stop. The twists and turns out of people's channels aren't going to stop. The doing it for clicks and views is not going to stop. And I'm not here to fix the world. We're just here to try to provide and talk about the content and what we feel. Maybe some of you don't, but what we feel is a best way that's representing to Abby and Libby, because that's the only reason why I'm sitting here talking about this case, is for those girls. So whatever rabbit holes people go down, whatever. I just think that if at the end of the day, the only thing I think about is, I don't care if you think that, you know, like they were laser beamed down to the crime scene and stuff like that. Because again, that really has no bearing. Who dropped the leak and stuff like that. You know, what you put out to the universe, you know, you get back to me, in a sense like that. So, you know, each to their own. But I just like to think that at the end of the day, there's, who cares what other people think? You have your opinion. You don't really need to argue with someone else because they have a different opinion, because everyone has that right, you know, to have that opinion. It doesn't matter what that opinion is. It's everybody's right to have one. And if they think that it, like I said, that they were beamed down to the crime scene, okay, might call you a wackadoodle a little bit perhaps, but you're right to have that opinion if you want, if that's what you think happened. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that. Justice for Abby and Libby. That's at the foremost of our thoughts, or at least my thoughts, for sure. And I think I can speak for the people on the panel and people that are watching this. Justice for Abby and Libby, and hopefully, at some
Hopefully
point,
they'll have some peace and resolution soon, the families.
hopefully, it's going to be long. It's going to be a process for sure. Anyways, that's all, and that's it. And you guys have a great night. Again, thank you guys for supporting the channel, being here. Please give a like, and we will see you tomorrow night, because tomorrow's Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
And who knows what'll be filed tomorrow.
Well, that's just it. You never know, right? What's going to be filed tomorrow. But tomorrow's Friday. You know, husband's off for the weekend and stuff like that. And I'm just going to say, have a great night, you guys. Love you guys very much.
Can I really quickly, can I say thank you to Ivy Rose and to Charmaine?
Oh,
Thank you guys. Thank you both of you.
God, I'm so selfish, aren't I, Charmaine? I guess sometimes I guess I just abuse the kindness and just is like thinking that you already know I appreciate you guys. But yeah, my bad. It's like I should be thanking the mods, and half the time I forget to do that, because I'll put up the thing saying thank you to the mods. And so I want to say that I'm really not the best multitasker in the world, and I forget shit, right, Joe Johnson? But Ivy and Charmaine, thank you so much. And again, to Travis for all the help that you've done and stuff like that. And anyways, you guys have a good night, and God bless.
Talk to you guys later.
Okay,
Bye.
go clean. Bye. Okay, bye guys. This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor.